No, I wasn't late. Shut up. Can't believe it, mate. Mrs. started talking about a bloody hose pipe. Like, what? Bit early to be a bit sexual? No, not really. For the garden. I was only joking. How are you all? I've got 2 guests today. Don't forget, it's only a 15-minute video. We'll be here for 2 hours. Jake's at the back. He can't say anything, but we know he likes to go on and on and on. He's probably like, shut your face. I'm trying to keep, he's having a little smile. Yeah. Oh, he's getting angry. Look, he's got his hand up by his chin. Oh, yeah, I'm watching him. How are we, everyone? We should get Jake and Ace up in 2 seconds. I've got the video ready. Good. How are we doing, Olga? Hope you're well. How you doing, Phil? Hello, Jake. Did you see my video today? Blooming Chubby Brown being cancelled. My favourite comedian ever. How you doing, Alan? How you doing? Yeah, that YouTube. Why not? How you doing? That's how I'll fly through that. Yes, let's get the others up so we can have a bit of a discussion. You never know. It might take us 4 hours to even get to the video. You know what me and Jake are like. And there's Ace. Hey, how are you guys doing? Guys, it's a guy and a girl.
Yeah, not bad, you?
Living a dream, apparently.
Good to see you back.
I'm feeling quite hard. I'm feeling like God today because I've been killing ants with boiling water.
Well, that's not very nice.
It is the red ants, so I've got the grandkids coming around, so I'm not having them
Oh,
bitten in my
okay,
garden.
yeah, that's completely fine.
How are you doing, Ace? It's been a while.
Yeah, I'm okay. Just to let you guys know, I am on my phone, so sorry if the quality of my sound isn't so good. And also, if I randomly disappear, my phone's on 12%, so that might be why.
Okay.
For battery. So, just a heads up. But other than that, haven't actually slept yet since I spoke to you briefly yesterday. So yeah, I'm all good.
Damn, that's not good. That's not good.
Oh, I go through bouts of insomnia. I've been going through it since I was a kid, so kind of used to it by now. But yeah,
we must be opposite.
I used to be like that.
Yeah, I envy. Yeah, I envy you.
You wouldn't.
Oh, that's classic. Insomnia is horrible. I used to be up till like 7, 8 in the morning, like just trying to get to sleep. The blooming mental health crap. Oh, it used to do me in. But I've not been like that since I've come out of hospital. How weird's that? It's just gone. Strange, but true.
Be nocturnal basically because my body clock is in reverse. So naturally, I want to be up all night and sleep during the day. So I've had to work over years to get to a point where I don't do that.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Phil, what on about malted milk? Where did that come from? Oh, for insomnia or whatever. I know there's biscuits that say malted milk on it. They're nice.
That
message,
that,
I've got a clue.
Just a quickie. That message that just popped up for malted milk. What was that one?
That's all
I've
it
seen
said.
a good video about Katie Hopkins talking to America. Is that the one where she's wearing she's got quite short hair and she's basically saying to America, like, look to Britain and Europe and don't become Britain? Is that what you were talking about?
Sounds like good advice.
Yeah. She had quite
Robert's
short
in
hair
Ohio.
Because I actually saw that myself yesterday and I was like, good on you, Katie. I never used to like Katie Hopkins. Being in the LGBT community, obviously she was very she was very transphobic, and you know, when I was younger I was a little bit more idealistic than realistic, and now I'm older and I understand the necessity of women's safe spaces and, you know, all of that. I'm completely against the T aspect of the LGB. So yeah, I guess I kind of understand where Katie was coming from back
Yeah.
in history now. I'm looking at it where we are today and how crazy the tea movement are. But luckily, we've just had a really great verdict. Don't know if anyone saw it. It's now officiated. Men are not allowed in single-sex spaces for females in toilets, changing rooms, gyms.
Good.
They can be denied access to sports as well. You know, where like there was that horrific event with the Olympics where we witnessed a man punch a woman in the face.
Yeah.
So yeah, but Katie Hopkins is a bit of a legend. I've got a lot of respect for her now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yep. She's who I posted today, actually, because she was talking about Roy Chubby Brown being banned from Exmouth Pavilion, my favourite comedian. So I've done a video about that. Andy Burnham saying about men can be women. But funny, those videos don't do very well. YouTube's like, can't talk about facts, mate.
Yeah, it seems to be quite a lot of people that are doing YouTube content that are all reporting the same thing, where their content is based around, you know, like geopolitics, for example. Their channels are being suppressed. And they can tell that by the monthly data from their YouTube.
Yeah, I can.
And it's not like right-wing politics is going out of fashion. If anything, it's going up in fashion. And yeah, I think YouTube's behaviour in this country is absolutely disgraceful. They've got no right whatsoever to suppress the British voices. None whatsoever. I'm quite angry with YouTube, to be honest with you.
I would imagine it's probably part of an intelligence operation to nudge people's thinking towards a certain way of thinking.
World government.
Yeah.
Do you mean like the New World Order type thing?
Well, I wouldn't quite go into those terms, but it would be adjacent to some of those theories, yes.
Right. What was I going to say? Yeah, this video, I think it's sort of like migration. They mentioned UTK, and it's got that Ava Santina, but her full name is Ava Santina Evans, apparently, not that I care. She is probably the most deluded woman, other than my missus, that I've ever met. I said that because I know the missus ain't watching. She's hoovering. I'm safe. But if she watches this at any point, I'll know because she'll come for me. But yeah, I don't know, like, you know, like when everything's going on in the world and you're probably looking at it, but you close your eyes. She's like one of them. So
yes, I get the impression from her that she's somebody who speaks, but she doesn't actually understand what she's saying. She seems to absorb these quotes from or slogans from places that are completely empty, and she churns them out in this performative way that she thinks is going to get the right reaction, but really she doesn't believe any of it. It sounds, to me, it sounds incredibly vacuous. Every single thing that comes out of her mouth is just completely pointless.
yeah, basically.
Apart from that, she's fine.
Katie Hopkins?
No,
Ava Santina.
Oh, I don't know who that is. Sorry, I might be a little bit slow today because, again, I haven't slept since I spoke to you guys yesterday. So bear with me.
Yeah,
but,
it's Ava.
Well, yes.
Not Anna. It's definitely Ava.
Ava. Oh.
Yeah.
Was it Ava?
Yeah.
I think I was calling her Anna. Oops, my bad.
She wouldn't like that.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why.
Although I agree with Lawrence Fox.
Oh my God! Yeah, it says who is Ava Evans, and it says Ava Santina. No wonder I got it all wrong. Yeah, Ava Santina. Oh, my bad. I wonder if I got it wrong on the back end. Then I've been putting Anna everywhere.
I think she is called Ava Evans.
Yeah, Ava Santina Evans. She goes by Ava Santina. Let me go. I've got to go me back end and check because if I got it wrong, it'll bug me. I get OCD about things when I get it wrong, and I'll be like, no.
She's just very typical of that metropolitan mindset. Every single thing about her, from just the way she speaks, the way that her mannerisms, her appearance. I mean, she's pretty in a sort of bland middle class way. That she's not. I wouldn't say that she particularly stands out in any way, but she's not offensive to the eye either, I would say. But she just
so she's attractive, but in a beige way.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And then when she opens her mouth, she's just.
Yeah, I got it wrong. I've changed it. I put Anna. Don't know why that. Don't know where I got that from. Oh well, too bad. But unlike Candace Owens, I can admit when I'm wrong. Did you see that? That was hilarious. Like, oh yeah, you've been in the Marines for 2 years. No, I haven't. You got it wrong. So can you actually give me an apology? Because it's been 3 years. No. And then another video, she's like, I'm always the first to admit when I'm wrong. Always put my hands up and admit when I'm wrong. And she would not literally apologize to the Marine for false information. Phil says, Ace, good to have you back, by the way.
Yeah, I saw that. Thanks, guys. Was that thing you just mentioned, Wiz? Was that to do with the Marine in America, the one that's to do with TPUSA? Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, right? I'm not saying that 100% I believe Erica had something to do with it. However, her behaviour is all too strange.
Very strange.
Why would you have fireworks and a massive display like a celebration at your husband's funeral, like it's some concert? Because that's how it was staged, like it was a concert. The whole thing felt off to me. So there's
is off for sure.
Yeah, there's quite a few videos that link that guy that Candace supposedly made the comments about to links to Romania, which links back to Erica Kirk, which links back to the ex-boyfriend that she had before Charlie Kirk. It's all quite strange. So
yes, I read somewhere that she deliberately targeted Charlie Kirk as well. Like she almost hunted him down and made sure that he married her, essentially.
Mm-hmm. It's all a bit too odd. Like some of the things she's been caught saying, where before Charlie, before that happened to Charlie brutally, that she was asked, "Oh, do you guys plan on having any more children?" And she said something along the lines of, "Well, the first two had to come out by surrogate, and I'm not sure how much Charlie wants to see my insides," or some quib along those lines. Then after he died, she was asked the same question by a different presenter, and she said, "Oh, we wanted to have 4 children."
She's a strange woman.
When at 2 children, she was saying, "I don't really want any more because I've had to have 2 cesarean sections, C-sections, or whatever you call them." Quite odd. The whole thing is a bit odd.
Yes.
But anyway, aren't we roasting Piers Morgan today? Because that's what I got on for.
Yeah.
Give old Morgan a good roasting.
Yes.
Yeah, it bugs me. It come out with something, you'll think, yeah, well said, and the next breath you're like, mate, really?
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And we've got to look who he is, really. I mean, he was the top muckraker in tabloid journalism for years. He was editor of the Mirror during the phone hacking scandals. He's somebody who is probably one of the most well-connected people across media in the world. I mean, he knows everybody and has contacts with everybody that you can possibly think of. So regardless of the fact he's an absolute arsehole, we can at least say he does have some uses in regarding that network. And he does have a very, very big voice. And so that comes with influence, which is why it is always very surprising that he does flip-flop between things that sometimes seem quite right-wing, and then other times he'll swing wildly to the left. And he's not consistent in that regard. And migration is one in particular where he's very left-wing on that regard. And it seems surprising considering some of the things that he says. But whether or not he's a good person, I couldn't actually tell you. His on-screen persona is an arsehole for sure.
Yeah. Phil and Olga, I did notice that Ace said surrogate to start with when I was going to say what surrogate.
Yeah, I did say, guys, at the beginning. I've had next to no sleep. You have to bear with me, guys.
Yeah, a couple of slaps.
Although one thing I would say though about Piers Morgan is that he's the sort of person that if he gives you an opportunity, then you should take it, because that is going to platform you to a massive audience, and that's why. Sure. It was great that Basin Bougie got that platform, but it's, as we'll see on Sunday, it's unfortunate how that platform was used.
Yeah, I said I'd love all that, but I can't do nothing. If anyone ever asked me, I'll be like, I'll have to do it from home because I need the microphone in front of my face. If I've got teeth, I'll be there, mate. I'll be in that studio. I'll be bloody telling them, I'll tell you. But yeah, I'll have to do it like this because I'm not going anywhere. Like GB News, like, come on. I'll be like, yes, I want to destroy some of those people. Like that Labour geezer looks like a character from bloody Cat in the Hat. Like his face is melting.
Oh,
he's an idiot. He's an absolute prat. Can't think of his name. But
I don't know.
And that Nigel Nelson's an absolute idiot. Oh, well, it's not right, actually. Yeah. Like, shut your face. You're an idiot.
One that I do
like crap.
One I have a lot of time for is Connie Shaw. I think she's excellent. She's also a local. She is from Suffolk, so again, I'm very proud of her for her achievements in escaping Suffolk and in getting Suffolk out there. But I think that she's really, really good at standing up for women's rights in particular, and she's really, really great at going out onto the streets and interviewing people and usually getting a very unpleasant reaction from them.
Yeah. Or anyone that just speaks the truth without their delusion and trying to keep it all like how they, no matter what, they try to defend Labour, say, and they can't just say, yeah, on that we screwed it up, because if they can't admit that, there's never going to be progress. So,
no,
and this is where, whether you like him or whether you don't, this is where Tommy Robinson or Stephen Yaxley Lennon, whatever his proper name is, he's got a point. Like, no one listens to the MSM anymore. So, you know, these dinosaurs like Piers Morgan, they're just not relevant anymore. So they're doing and saying anything they can to stay relevant. That's how I see Piers Morgan. I don't know if anyone else would agree with that, but
yeah, I think that's why he's on YouTube and all that as well. Yeah, I think you're right.
I think, I think it's a good point. It's hard to sort of quantify the extent to which people still engage with the legacy media, really. That's the only thing that I think is hard for us to say. Certainly it feels as if people have rejected the mainstream media, but I'm sure that there are still lots of people that do watch it as well and still buy into it. But what I think is the important aspect is that we're now disputing it. And this is something that is really, really unusual, I think, as a societal factor, which is that we're at a stage now where what we see in front of us, we now question. We can no longer believe what we're seeing. We don't know if what we're seeing is AI. We don't know if what we're seeing has been written by someone else, because there's been too many things that have been shown to be, fake, for example. There was one I saw on Dan Wootton's show this week. He showed a clip of a kid at the Palestine march shouting "fuck off Nazis" and screaming and shouting.
That.
Yep.
That was disgraceful. If that was my kid, he'd get slapped around the back of the legs and told not to speak like that. It's disgraceful.
Yeah, it was disgraceful, but it wasn't from the weekend, though. That clip's a couple of years old. I saw it on YouTube a couple of years ago. It's from a completely different demonstration. Now, I'm not blaming Dan for that, but this is exactly the sort of thing I mean. And you see it with other incidents as well, where a piece of footage is used to represent something that actually it doesn't, and we believe it. But I think more and more people are waking up to the fact that what we're seeing in front of us might not actually be real, and what is being told to us we don't actually have to believe in.
I think the other part of the problem, Jake, is, we've gone from being a very high trust society. We trusted everyone around us because we didn't have really anything to question. And lo and behold, we bring in all these people that we don't know who they are. And look, we also now don't even trust our own media because we don't know who they're fighting for.
Exactly. So it not only is our reality, so our entire sort of reality is collapsing in front of us.
Yeah, all for letting in immigrants that have paid in zero to this country, have zero intention of paying anything into this country. They're coming here, and you can call me Islamophobic or anti-Muslim, whatever. I really don't care anymore. They're coming here to implement reverse jizya. It's obvious. They've got no intention of coming here to immigrate, get on and integrate, sorry.
I agree.
That's not what they're here for. They're here to tax us and take everything they can get until there's nothing left. Well, what are they going to do when there's nothing left? Where are they going to go then? Because the whole world will be a shithole by that point.
I agree. I absolutely hate their ideology. I don't like the people, and I don't want them here. And it's as simple as that. They've got no right to be here. They've got no reason for being here. It's not an Islamic country. Most people that I've encountered don't want them here either. So the best thing for them really, if they want to live that sort of a life, is go to one of the 50-odd Muslim countries and live there, where they can live peacefully. Yep. They can rape as many people as they like. They can marry as many cousins of theirs as they like. And they can get away with chopping people up as much as they like. But as long as they don't do it here, fine.
And I'm saying this as a female, until maybe over the last year, when I've realised, actually, the women are just as radical as the men. I used to feel sorry for their women. Genuinely. I felt like they were oppressed. They don't really get the right to choose. No, they fully support what their men are doing. There's been a clip come out from a mother in Gaza today saying there's going to be another 7th of October. They're planning it already, only they're not going to tell us the date. It's just going to happen. And it's going to be worse than last time. That came out this morning. Toll the... was it Toll that covered it? It was either Toll or Ali Tabirazi. I can't pronounce his surname. One of the two, but he covered it. And there's other clips from other Muslim women in places like Egypt saying on Sahar TV, like if you find two homosexuals engaged in an act, you don't start asking, are you passive or are you active? You just kill both of them. Like the women are just as radical as the men.
Yeah. They are. And the difficulty is that people will say, oh, well, there's many of them that are moderate and who live peacefully. And yes, there are some people who live peacefully, probably because they haven't fully engaged with their own scripture, so they don't understand it fully. And if they did, they would perhaps behave differently. But how are we supposed to distinguish between those people who are moderate or those people who are extremists? As far as I'm concerned, they're following the same script. They're the same people. And that is something that I don't think that this society is benefiting from. I think that if we were to look at this objectively, you would say, here we have a massive, massive problem. What we need to do is round up the lot of them, lift them up and pop them off somewhere else where they would belong much better. That would be a sort of ideal solution all round. But obviously that doesn't work like that, because once people have been given citizenship, then you can't deport them.
No, but we do have the right as a country to revoke citizenship.
Yes,
so if we've been giving out citizenships like they're fucking candies, as the Americans would say, then damn right we should be withdrawing those. Yeah, like I feel so sorry for because this whole illegal immigration situation. Granted, legal migration has caused just as much of a problem as illegal migration. We've got far too many Europeans in this country that are working part-time and claiming benefits to make up the rest of their money. There's 2 of them in my household. I live in a HMO because I can't afford to live in my own place. I just can't afford it.
Yeah.
Why have we got a gentleman from Norway working two days a week in Tesco's and then using universal credit to make up the rest, and we're paying for that? Like, I've got no problem if you want to actually come here and contribute like the British do. We don't We don't think, just working 2 days a week and staying like that for 5, 6, 7, 10, 15 years is okay. We don't think that's okay. I wasn't brought up like that. Most people weren't brought up like that. Not that I know of.
There are things that we could do within the benefit system, I think, that would be beneficial for society. Like, for example, agreeing to do some form of community work that contributes towards you getting that payment, so that our towns and cities can actually look like places you want to go and visit. Just tidying them up, for example, getting rid of the graffiti, making people proud to be, in the place that they live in. Because when I look on YouTube and I see what the cities look like, some of them are fucking shitholes. I mean, I'm lucky in that where I live, there isn't graffiti. The streets are clean. They might get the odd sweet wrapper here and there, but it's clean, it's tidy. It's somewhere where you actually feel, you're proud of that community. But I look at somewhere like Coventry city centre, where I lived for a year. It was a shithole then, and when I look at it today, it's even worse. And there are things that could be done about that by people who are living in that community to improve that community. Because the needs within that community are very different from the needs that they would be in my community. But there's still a need for there to be some sort of communal work and a need to instill a communal spirit across communities.
I think we might get that out of, countries that are of the same cultural philosophies as the UK, i.e. Europe. But the Middle East, no, we're not going to get that. We're not going to get it. As much as we hope for that, we're not going to get that from them. They're here to impose reverse jizya. It's obvious.
Well, I kind of see it, and some people would see this as being controversial, but I'm using it more as an analogy than an actual belief. But kind of like, if people who are North European are of one species, then there are other species that are similar but different within that, particular grouping. And if we looked at it in that way, that we're dealing with a different species, that would make more sense in terms of their behavioural patterns, their cultural patterns, seeming very different from ours. They're a completely different people. They have different mindsets. Look at the way that they communicate with one another. It's all full of gesticulation and shouting and aggression. It's all very much based on macho masculine posturing, which is something that in this country we got rid of decades ago, if not centuries ago. Their belief system is something that is hundreds and hundreds of years behind ours, and so it's backward to us, the way that they think and what they think is normal. It's just nothing like our society whatsoever, and I don't see how the two can ever function peacefully alongside each other, especially when one of them aggressively tries to assert itself on the other and expects to be treated specially and differently by people who actually don't treat it differently and shouldn't treat it with respect and should treat it with the contempt it deserves.
Yep, right. Migration, it's mentioned in this video, and like I say, that Anna talks absolute pish, so I'll be interested to see what actually comes out of her mouth this time. But let's hit the play button and see how long it lasts before we have to interrupt it. You're like this, Ace, because Jake always interrupts in the first 30 seconds.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you hear that noise then from the crucible?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah. Make sure that, because I done it last time, didn't I, Jake? And no one could hear anything.
Yeah.
Well, Tommy Robinson spent months courting support from many MAGA organisers and influencers, as well as making high-profile trips to Israel. Broadcaster Glenn Beck will be joining the rally, while others, including Colombian racist Valentina Gomez, have been denied entry. You might ask why, on both sides of this apparent battle for the soul of Britain, there's such a fixation on everywhere other than Britain, from the Brits marching against Israel to the Israel-backing Americans telling us how to be British. And that's always been my suspicion about extremes, whatever side they're on. They say they're fighting for your interest, but they're often fighting somebody else's. Here to debate this is the host of Crucible, Andrew Wilson, Ava Santina, the political editor at Politics Joe, a Green Party activist and Birkbeck University Associate Professor Ashok Kumar, and Habib, leader of Farage's rival Advance UK, and the co-founder of Vice Media, and the Proud Boys' Gavin McInnes. All right, well, welcome to you. It's certainly a perfect panel to debate all this. Ava Santina, there are these two marches, I believe fundamentally in free speech. That includes the right to peacefully protest and to peacefully march and protest if you see fit. Do you have an intrinsic problem with the Tommy Robinson Unite for the Kingdom?
Before she speaks, let's just pause there for a second, because he's raised an interesting point there that I think we need to get into, really. Do people have the right to peacefully protest? Well, I would argue that the Palestine marches are not peaceful protests, particularly not when you see footage like we have at the weekend of people shouting, "Shoot him in the neck like Charlie Kirk." I mean, if that isn't an incitement to violence, I don't know what is. And we see it every single week with them chanting "From the river to the sea." We all know what that means. So I would argue that that isn't a peaceful march. It is a march of hate. It is inciting violence, and it shouldn't be allowed on our streets.
Yep,
Yeah,
I
totally agree.
Well, there you go. That was short and sweet.
That was very short, yeah.
I was going to say no. I am.
What?
Oh, I was just going to say, I agree with what you're saying, Jake, but I also kind of disagree, but for a very specific reason.
Good.
If we're going to start if we're going to start picking and choosing what is and isn't okay to protest, then if we have the right to turn around and say, you know, because there are a lot of communities in this country that have worked really hard to integrate, and they should not be deported because they have integrated. If those people were experiencing, for example, like Iran and, you know, the whole Persians against the you know, Islam, the Persians should have a right to protest in this country if they've settled in this country, and they have, you know, I appreciate what you're saying, that the context of the march is different, but again, if you're going to pick and choose what is and isn't okay to protest about or say at a protest, that kind of is infringement on freedom of speech. So we kind of lose our own battle. Does that make sense?
No, it does. And this is one of the things that is really, really important, and why I thought I would get us to stop at this point is to think about that idea of freedom of speech, because freedom of speech is never absolute. There's always restrictions upon it. In whatever society you live in, there always is some form of something that prevents particular things being said because of the consequences or actions of those particular words. And if you're a free speech absolutist, then that means that it's okay for people to go out on the streets and advocate for paedophilia. Now, nobody's saying that would be reasonable, but yet under that framework, that would be reasonable, because if anything is allowed to be spoken, then that would be allowed to be spoken about. Where I would say it would differ is where it is going to cause a real world harm. So for me, you can't argue on the streets about paedophilia because it causes real world harms. Same thing about going on the streets protesting for jihad or any of that sort of terrorist adjacent nonsense. Any of that is inciting hatred and violence. And according to our laws at the moment, that is where the line is drawn and where you have to stop. Now, people have pushed it too far, Lucy Connolly being a great example of that, where she in no way was inciting racial hatred, but yet she was accused of that and sentenced to 3 years, I think it was. And yet we get people chanting in the thousands that that Tommy Robinson should be shot in the neck like Charlie Kirk. And I'm not aware of there being any arrests for people who were doing that.
It's a really hard one because I totally agree with everything you're saying. But I'm not a free speech, period. There are things that aren't okay to say, but when you're protesting, I guess it all goes on, like the UK has common law, right? So we all agree in a community that we don't agree with this certain action. Let's make it illegal. So I guess protesting and free speech would kind of follow that same suit. It all goes on the whole, common consensus of what is and isn't okay to say at that point in time?
I think you've touched upon the key issues here. In one, who is it that decides what is okay? So who's responsible for asserting that morality? But secondly, now we're seeing competing laws coming into our society, because under Islamic jurisprudence, they believe that their scripture comes directly from God. Therefore, that supersedes UK law. Regardless of whether or not they want to admit that, that is the truth.
Dude, just before we go down that line, it's the same for Judaism. It's also the same for Christianity.
Yeah, but they don't go around.
We don't go around saying it. You know, God's law's above human law, but it is very much written into all religious texts that God's word is above man's word.
Yeah, like I say,
but we don't go around flaunting it in people's faces.
People's heads off. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And they respect our laws and follow them.
Yeah. Anyway,
Well,
Yes, let's see what
I
charming Ava has to say.
Why would you, right? Let's say I lived in Iran, I've come over here, and then I'm in England. I don't like what's going on in Iran, so I'm going to go and hit the streets and protest in England about Iran. Well, I've left Iran. Go home.
Because but that's not safe for them to do. Wiz, that's the point. Like Persians, they spoke Farsi. They never spoke Arabic. Okay, so when you look at Iran, you're looking at two groups of people. One being an invading group, the other being the native group. We can all guess who the invading group was. Those are the people, the invading group, that have caused the problem. Hence why all of the Persians, or most of the Persians, have left. And the only safe space for them to protest is outside of Iran. Because if they did that in Iran, we all saw what happened a couple of months ago. How many of them were shot dead? 48,000? Yeah. It's not safe for them to go and protest over there.
Yep.
You know,
it's the same for a Spanish dude, isn't it? A Spanish dude's living in this country. He's going to go out with a sign saying, "Why did you let 500,000 Muslims into Spain, mate? You're in England. It's irrelevant. If you're that fast, bugger off back to Spain and do it. It makes no sense. You don't move to
Persia didn't. Wait. Yeah, but Persia didn't just let them in. Wiz, it's a bit different. This is the thing, like, Islam enforced itself on Iran. They had no choice in the matter.
Oh, yeah, it's done that everywhere. But, I mean, I'm not saying them in particular. I'm saying no matter where you're from, South Africa, Australia, France, Germany, wherever you're from, you don't come to England and then protest about something in your home country.
You might be seeing things a bit different. If we all have to flee this country in 2050, and the only place that you've got to protest for England is outside England. You might then see it a bit different. I agree with what you're saying. There are certain things that should not be protested for in England. It's got nothing to do with England. However,
I understand
there are certain people in the world that support the British way of life, support the British, and the Persians are one of those groups of people. They shouldn't suffer.
British people
for what
British people can say, hang on, Iran
what she's saying is that, she's saying that in Iran, the Persians can't protest because they'll get killed. So they've had to leave Iran to escape that. And the only place they can protest from is England. And that's why they're doing it. That's what she means.
So,
again, if my words aren't coming out quite right, again, please bear with me. I am actually quite tired, but I just can't seem to settle my brain down to sleep. So I'm trying my best, but if I'm not maybe explaining it right,
no problem, Ace. No problem.
Yeah.
I get, they're gonna like certain circumstances that I get that. But then, you can have British people, they go out, didn't they? And they're like anti-Iraq war, anti-Iran war. That's British people doing that. But even that, I'm a bit like, hang on, but that's nothing to do with this country. You can be unhappy about stuff, but to literally go out protesting about stuff, like literally protesting on the streets about things that are absolutely nothing to do with your country, that just doesn't make sense.
I understand
well,
what
I-
the point you're making,
guess
but I think the
from a very
circumstances different.
yeah, from
I
a from
get
a
the
very
Persian,
very
you know.
loose from a very very
But-
loose connection. What happens with Iran is actually very important for the West, because if we can get rid of the IRGC, that will be another democratic country in the Middle East. That will break history. That will literally break history. That is actually quite fundamental for the West, that the
Well, I think
Persians can reclaim their homeland. I've got a very stern point of view about that, so you won't get me to shift it. But
Well, I think
all
that there
I can
should be a
say,
fundamental shift, and that fundamental shift should be what we all across the West are starting to realise and need to have the courage to stand up and say, which is that the Islamic regime, the Islamic ideology, is every bit as insidious and evil as the Nazi regime, and it is the current enemy that we're facing. We need to treat it in that way. We need to tackle it head on, and we need to get rid of that ideology, because that is the problem. No one is coming out and actually saying it.
nice little fact
Yeah.
about Nazism. Hitler actually got advice from imams during that period. So we can
Well,
all
what a surprise.
understand why he went a bit crazy on the Jews.
Yeah, maybe. But we should
That's where
see
he
what
was getting
Ava's
his
got to
advice
say.
from.
We're going to get
Like,
told
that's-
off soon.
Yeah. But yeah, all I can say with the protesting thing, we might all see things slightly differently if by 2050 we've all got to leave this country because it's been overrun by Islam, and the only place that we can protest for our country will be outside our country. Then maybe we might all start seeing it slightly differently. But
then we should have started doing that beforehand, because it's obviously too late. We're not even in the bloody country anymore. We fucked that up.
well,
Do you know what I mean?
that's the position the Persians are in. They didn't invite them in. They did not
Well,
invite them in.
yeah.
We made that mistake. We invited them in.
We're inviting them in. We're letting them come in. We're giving them brand new iPhones and Samsungs and cash and days off so they can go out and laundry and that. We're inviting them in. We're literally slitting our own throats. Where someone like, say, the Persians, I totally get that. Like, you know, you're not going to risk 48 to 60,000 people get done just for protesting. It's ridiculous. So I get that, because there will be circumstances, but we've got to remember, no matter what you protest about, it don't do bugger all. Won't change nothing. It just might bring awareness, but then the mainstream media will be like, that doesn't fit our narrative, so shut up. Oh, UTK does, because we want to call them all diversive, and they're full of hatred. So yeah, we're sort of cover that, but not really, because that helps us say the far right. So it all seems a bit like, because UTK, what has that changed? Nothing. I get why they're doing it, and you feel the unity on the day, but no matter where you protest, it's all down to the governments at the end of the day.
Okay, so where I would say UTK has had a massive impact is that we're now not just seeing this in the UK, we're now starting to see this movement spread across Europe. We're also now
It's not
starting to
changed
see
anything
this
here, though. That's what I'm
It
saying. It's
doesn't
not
matter
changed
whether.
anything here.
Wait. Just pause one sec. We're now starting to see that movement spread across the West. Now, you might say that's not doing anything for the UK. Not right now, it's not, no. But until we're all on the same page, singing from the same hymn book, none of England, the UK isn't going to stand a chance. We need our allies. Do you know how many Muslims are in the West? We're not going to be able to get through that as just the UK. We need America. We need Europe. So until the people of these countries take a stand and start protesting and make it known worldwide, we are not okay with this, it doesn't help other nations to stand up. So I personally believe that UTK is absolutely pivotal for the West, not just the UK. It's pivotal for the West. It is enabling this Overton window to shift into the right sort of conversation that will fix this country.
I don't think they're
It's not
looking at the
immediate.
right place. That's what I think the problem is. I think that in the UTK aspect is very, very good at uniting people. I've got no problem with it, but it does focus very much on the Islamic issue, which is a huge problem, and we do need to deal with it. But that is one part of a bigger problem, and the bigger problem is the globalist mindset of governance that we have across the West. That's what people are really rejecting and really want to get rid of. The whole people who are gathering in Davos and at the World Economic Forum and who all network amongst each other, those are the people that we need to get rid of, because they're the people that are upholding this system of governance and are perpetuating it. And until we can get out of the stranglehold of that, it's just going to carry on.
Did anyone see the clip of the dude that's in charge of BlackRock was getting really worried because people are threatening to drone bomb his buildings? He's
Well, what the
literally
fuck-
put out publicly, please don't bomb my buildings, because he's
Why not?
terrified.
Why not? He bombs countries.
Yeah, but I think you're right on that, Jake. It's definitely, the elites and the people that are making the decisions are not representing the people that they're making those decisions for.
Exactly.
They're only making those decisions to further their own agenda or their own, their own political career with what. No one goes
I would
to
take it
be
a step
PM.
further, actually. I'd take it
No,
one step further than that, and I would say what they're actually doing is they are doing that, but what they're really doing is protecting that system, and it's all about allowing that system to continue. That's what we need to get rid of. We need someone who can get into Parliament and say, no, I don't want this. We can get rid of that, because Parliament has the ability to do it. So if we've got someone like Rupert who can get in there, who will do that, and who can clear out all of this shit, then we've got a chance of recovery. But if we haven't got
that gets me really excited. That really does get me excited. I know it sounds really stupid, but that man has brought hope to me.
Well,
he really has brought hope to me. I've never met the guy. I messaged him once on Facebook, and he actually messaged me back. He's brought hope to me. I've never met the guy, and if he can change this country, he has got my full support. Get them all out. Get the lot of them out. Let's reset this country and get it fixed, because this is not working. It's not working. None of it's working.
It's not working, no. And it's not working here. It's not working in Europe. And it's also starting to cause problems in the States as well. So it's a system-wide problem in the West. That's what we need to get rid of. It's the post-World War II system of this sort of universalist human rights bullshit. Everyone is equal. It's all of that. It's one massive system that needs to go.
Do you maybe think World War III will actually be between the peoples of the world and the people that run the world?
I think that we're in World War III right now. The difference is that beforehand, warfare was about killing people. Now it's about controlling information rather than it is territory. And that's a lot of the problem I think that we're seeing, is that everything that we see is curated for us to see a particular version of a reality rather than actually seeing what's really there. And it's that whole system, like I say, that has got to go, because everything comes from that. All of the trans nonsense, all of the Islamic nonsense, all of the stuff that we think is wrong comes from here. The economics come from here. And it has to go, because it's just a self-perpetuating system. This is why the Tories spent 14 years not doing anything about it, because it was easier for them to not do anything and just go along with it and continue to make money and allow their career to progress, exactly like Ace was just saying. But all it's done is allow the system to lock itself in further by bringing in more and more legislation. So when we get to Keir Starmer, absolute wanker, but he's not the architect of the mess that we're in. That begins with Tony Blair. Because that's where the socialist project that was envisaged after World War II was actually enacted.
He was the last Prime Minister in British history to be able to make decisions for his Parliament and his people without external interference, i.e. the ECHR. The last Prime Minister was in 1997.
And that's exactly what I mean. We need to get rid of those systems from our government, go back to 1997 and actually get our ministers making decisions and being held accountable for them. Because if we can't do that, then we're not going to be able to govern ourselves. And the fact that we've got more and more different groups coming in that are falling into different factions means the country is going to become ungovernable if it's got these different pockets. So you need to have there that homogeneity to control people. And I mean that in a positive way.
Yeah. I watched an interview this morning with Emily Thumble, or whatever her name is, from GB News, with Raymond Ibrahim.
Oh, yes.
And yeah, really great interview. But she was talking about oh, my brain's just completely shut off on me. Sorry, guys.
It's all right.
What were you just saying? Because it's something you said that just sparked that thought in my head. What did you repeat? What you just said, Jake? What were you talking about?
I can't remember that far back.
Just now, literally just now.
I can't remember. Something about the system needing to be replaced. And that's what the real problem is.
That's so annoying, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is, because if anyone hasn't seen it, I highly recommend to go watch it. Really, really insightful. Raymond Ibrahim, or Ibrahim, however you say his surname, really, really intelligent guy. Really knows his stuff. But yeah,
what
I was
mean by ungovernable when I say that?
Oh, that was it. You just reminded me. Sorry, carry on, but you just reminded me. Yep.
Well, what
Sorry.
I mean is, like, if I were to use the metaphor of like a classroom, so if I'd be like the Prime Minister in this example. So if everybody in my class is behaving and following my rules, then we don't have any problems. We can get our work done. Our productivity is very, very good. If someone fucks about, you kick them out, no problem. If you start then getting groups of people forming who are mucking about more, if you've got one small group of say 3 or 4, you can get rid of them, you can deal with them. If you then got another group of 3 or 4, then you've got problems, because you're then having to divide your time up between the different groups that are misbehaving and the groups that are behaving. If you then introduce more and more different pockets, eventually you end up with an ungovernable classroom, because all of the different needs are taking over your priorities and nobody's getting anything done. And that's what will end up happening at a larger scale if things carry on the way that they are under this system.
Yeah, what you just said, 100%. The interview that I mentioned just a minute ago before I forgot what I was saying, the way Emily worded kind of exactly what you've just said, but how it is in the actual UK at the moment. We've imported wars that are nothing to do with us into this country, i.e., you've got Pakistanis fighting Indians. That's got nothing to do with British people, but they've brought that here because, well, they're not just going to forget it because they're living in the UK. Yeah. You've got Afghans and Iraqis fighting each other, and they're not just going to forget it because they're in the UK. So we've got all of these little wars going on with all these little communities, just like you've said, well, Jake. It's not manageable.
It's not manageable, and what you've just said is absolutely right. But this is where the media becomes very, very dangerous, because those things are happening. You're quite right. But if we actually think about what happens in reality, yes, there was a fight between Indians and Pakistanis in one street in Leicester a couple of years ago. If we look at it in that way, it's a really small, minor incident. But yet, if you put it onto YouTube and people start talking about it and they emphasize its importance, it makes it sound like the country is on the brink of civil war. So someone in the States, for example, would quite easily think we are on the brink of civil war if they heard that and if they saw that footage. Whereas what they're not seeing is that the majority of the time that isn't actually happening. So the incidents are serious, they need dealing with, but they are not as prevalent as they appear to be on media. And that's something that I think is part of the information war that's being used against us all.
I guess maybe Europe has maybe more of a problem with that than we do, because some of the videos I've seen of migrants fighting each other coming out of Europe is literally crazy. They're running around with machetes trying to kill each other.
I know, it's disgusting. And we see on our streets here people running down the street with large sticks beating each other. It's not that is not how our culture operates, and we do not want that in our culture. It's not good for our safety, or for our well-being, or for our productivity. And the only solution is that they can fuck off.
Hear, hear. Well said.
And I will
Phil.
be standing for Parliament for the in East Anglia. No, I won't really.
Phil, thanks for the gifted membership. You hit John. How cool's that? John's been here about a week. He's already a member. Budgies. That's good. But what I was going to say ages ago was I bet we still got people in this country that are completely and utterly blind to what's going on. And they're like, oh, no, Muslims are lovely people. They're not trying to take over your country.
Well, Wiz,
refusing to
I'll give you an
assimilate.
example. I'll give you a prime example of that. We've just had the recent election. The parties that won in my constituency were Greens, followed by Lib Dems, because they're exactly the sort of people that you're talking about. They're wealthy, retired people who are do-gooders and think that they're trying to do something that benefits the country, and they're not realising the problems that they're actually causing. Luckily, though, they are here. That is a tiny pocket that's just in one constituency, or sorry, one ward. So it's not a big problem. But those are the people that go out on these protests and say refugees are welcome here. No, they're fucking well not. Yeah. It's because they don't see it. And that's why, and it's what you're saying. And I think what a lot of people don't realise as well is because so much emphasis is placed on the large towns and cities, we think that all of England is large towns and cities, when actually the vast majority of England is not. It's market towns and countryside.
Yep. Agreed. Well, we've got 1 minute 25 in. We've done well, haven't we?
Yeah, that's not bad.
Oh dear. There's me looking for videos, panicking. Oh, we need at least a good hour, so we make sure we, stream for about an hour and a half. But you know what I mean? Back in the day, and now I know we only need like 5 minutes for an hour.
Get the ranting out. We've got to get the ranting out of our system, Wiz, and then we can get on to the roasting of Piers. That's all it is, mate.
That's
I think Ava will get it first, though.
I got another comment last night. I had to delete it as people were going, you two guys talking is boring. I was like, well, don't watch then.
Yeah.
That's up here where we spoke for an hour before we got going. I said, there is an edited version, but you got to be a member to see it. So they come back with something else. And I was just like, delete. I can't be asked.
People can say whatever they like about me as long as it's truthful.
Yeah, but it's different when it's live because you're in the moment and you're talking. But if you watch it on catch up, like I do that with David Wood and Apostate Prophet, I normally just forward it. I skip bits. I don't sit there and go, oh, right, let me comment. Oh, you talking, how boring. You just don't do that. You move it on yourself because it's not live, or you put it at 2 times speed like I do. Do you know what I mean? So, but anyway, right, let's see what goes on because this Ava Santina never fails to disappoint in the world of being absolute stupid. Andrew Wilson, I think, is quite screwed on, and Ben Habib don't mix his words either. So, right, let's see how far we can get.
Actually very pro-protest, and I think that any protest that people would like to hold, I do think should be granted in the United Kingdom. If you want to turn up and make a fool of yourself and spout racist nonsense, then that is your right to do so, because we live in a democratic society and a country that does allow that. I'm actually really interested in something you brought up in your introduction there, Piers, because you talked about the number of arrests that had allegedly happened at a March for Palestine rally. Actually, if you look at the Tommy Robinson rallies over the last couple of years, there have been a whole number of arrests. Just last September, there were 20 officers who were injured because people were throwing bottles at them. There was an officer with a broken nose. I mean, can you imagine that, smashing up a policeman's nose? It doesn't really seem very patriotic to me. But again, if they want to be idiotic and act like that, then fine. It's not my problem.
And to be clear, on the Palestine march, should anybody have a banner saying, or a chant that says globalize the intifada, for example, what would you feel about that?
I'm not a theologian, so it's not something that I can really speak to. I understand that the community have expressed upset when that phrase is being chanted. I actually think there are much bigger things to worry about on those marches at times. I think there have been a couple of people who have showed some anti-tropes. And actually, thankfully, the March for Palestine group have.
Oh, yeah. When you hear a little jump and nothing there, for some strange reason, I have put it in the comments going, why on earth have you actually dubbed the word Muslim? So when they say Muslim, it goes silent, which I think is just retarded.
Well, I was going to say, actually, as she is talking here, the very first point that she raised was that she was very pro-protest, and that everybody has the right to go out and protest whatever they like on our streets. So to that, I would say to her, okay, if I want to organise a pro-cannibal, pro-Nazi, pro-paedophilia march, can I do that? According to her, yes, I can. Nobody in their right mind would let such a march go on. So she's not talking about something she knows about. When she was just asked then about genocidal chants to do with Intifada, and she said, I'm not a theologian. It doesn't matter whether she's a theologian or not. It's not a religious question. It's a question of what you believe in, and in terms of whether or not you think that Israel should have been given its borders or not. So she's full of shit. She doesn't know what she's talking about. She just talks.
Told you, she never disappoints.
Kicked those people out and have been very forceful about them not attending.
But that
those
phrase, the
marches.
globalised
I
intifada.
would say, I think we get really distracted by this phrase. You know, people who go on these marches are not going on these marches because they don't like people or because they do actually want to see, I don't know, an Islamic regime in the United Kingdom or whatever ridiculousness the right wing are peddling now in this country. They go because they do not like British taxpayer money being spent on that are being sent to Gaza and potentially killing. That's what they don't like, and that's where our focus should be. Okay,
Andrew Wilson, your response to that?
Well, that's not really true. They're not. It is true in a sense that they are anti what's going on with Gaza and all that, but they're not really turning out for that reason in the UK. They're turning out because they're saying that the other side is racist. They're saying that Tommy Robinson's protest is a bunch of racists. I mean, you can read article after article of the opposition saying this. So I'm fully 100% behind these rallies. I think that they need to remove the element from the UK altogether. That's what I would advocate for. Yes, that's correct.
What are you talking about?
Remove the element.
Well, hang on, just to clarify.
It means no more mass migration from nations to the UK. That's insane.
But we have about 5 million in the UK. What would you do with them?
Well, the ones that are there, you can't do very much about, but you can do something about continuing the immigration policies. Empathy. Yes. You don't need to do it.
So just to be clear, Andrew, you wouldn't let any Muslims into the country?
Yeah. Well, people have a right. They have an autonomous right to determine who comes into their nation and who doesn't. If the people of the nation don't want the people who come into their nation, that is their right.
That is, I think, one of the fundamental questions that we're currently facing, is that we should have the right to be able to say who we want coming into our country. That's the point of having a country. That's why you have borders that you protect, because you're there to say, these are my people. I put their needs first. Everything I do is for the benefit of the people here. When you have people coming in here who are saying the same thing but are not from that culture, then you're going to have problems. And also, I would just like to query Ava, who was talking shit about the arrests there as well. 20 arrests at the last Tommy Robinson march is absolutely bugger all compared with how many turned up. And it's nothing compared with the arrest numbers that they get for the Notting Hill Carnival. And that's before even talking about the amount of rapes and murders that go on there. None of that happened at that march. This march, the MSN tried to be clever and said that there were 43 arrests that happened at the protests. What they never said was that it was only, I think it was 8 at the UTK one, or possibly 11, but certainly nowhere near 43. That was a total of all of them.
Does anyone else find it odd with this whole Gaza situation? Because she did bring Gaza up. When Israel, just wants to exist as a country, like, they have their 52 Muslim states. Israel has one state. When Israel settles in supposed Palestine, it's seen as settlement. But when Muslims come over to our countries, it's not seen as settlement. Why is that?
Yeah, you're exactly right.
The narrative.
That is the problem.
Why is that?
And who does it benefit as well is the other question we have to
Exactly.
ask. Who benefits?
Exactly.
Oh, did you mention benefits? I'm there, mate. But,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's good
That's-
that Andrew
point.
put her. He didn't put her in her place, obviously, but it's good that he was against her there and spoke against what she was saying and pushed back.
Yeah,
And Piers
definitely.
had a point actually when he says, "What are you going to do with the 5,000 that are here?" That is a big problem. You cannot
5 million.
Just say, sorry, 5 million. If only it were 5,000. You can't
There's
just
6
pick up
million
5
actually.
Oh, that's a number we've heard before in the past, isn't it? You can't just get 6 million people and then they disappear. Oh, actually, you can.
No, but you can
That's not
make
what we're
them want to
proposing.
leave.
That's not
You
what
can
we're
make
proposing at all.
You can make them want to leave by making their way of life completely impossible.
I think-
They're not
Yep.
allowed to build a single more mosque. What we should be doing is implying their rules that they would imply on us in their countries, but on them. So if a Christian has a church in a predominantly Muslim country, under Sharia law, that church will not be allowed to ring its bell. It will not be allowed to hold regular services like a Sunday service, for mass for people to go pray. If that church goes through any disrepair, it is not allowed to be repaired, and no more churches would be allowed to be built. So if that's good enough for us in their countries, I think it should be good enough for them in our countries, don't you?
I agree. In fact, I would, if it were up to me, I would use as much legislative powers as possible to put as many restrictions in place as possible to make it as hard as possible for them to be able to practice their beliefs. Because one thing you cannot do in a liberal democracy is outlaw belief, because it would be impossible to enforce that. But I think that there are ways in which you could legislate against this particular religion, and I'm sure that there's something, if they really wanted to do, they could do to do with their particular book and how that could be dealt with legally, because that's where the problem comes from.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody would mind if these people came here, they just got on quietly with their lives, did what they wanted to in private, and just got on with it. And when you saw them, they looked normal. They said, "Good afternoon, how are you? Lovely day today, whatever." No one would mind. But they don't do that.
No, I saw something yesterday that said, "What's caused the rise in Islamophobia?" ? The response was Muslim behaviour. That's what.
Yep.
Period. Like, the British don't just randomly start having a problem with something. We've never really been like that.
No.
I don't really know many countries across the world that, just start randomly having a problem with something. So if we've got a problem, that means you've put a problem in our lap and now we're having to deal with it. So
Yep. And it's a problem that is like Japanese knotweed. It's something that has to be dealt with severely, or else it will keep coming back. And that's the only way that I think we can look at it, is it is like an invasive species, and you have to control those populations. That's the only way we're going to deal with this population, is we've got to get rid of the ones who are extreme. We just get a whole lot of them out of here. The people that are here, we legislate them to hell so that they cannot practice the more extreme versions of it. And if they can then prove that they can live peacefully, then we shouldn't have a problem. But until we start,
I still think we would have a problem, because then what they would be doing, what we need to, people really need to educate themselves on Islam.
Yes.
If you don't know much about it, go educate yourself on it, because it is very important that we know how they behave. When you look at early Islam, Muhammad approached things very, very differently. And then you move into when Islam became a little bit more established and they didn't have to agree so much. And then they went into full-on conquer mode. And they've been like it ever since. So
that's
for
true.
them to supposedly just start getting on with us, I still wouldn't trust it, because all they're doing is playing quiet until they've had enough children that are then of the right age to take the country. We can't have them in this country. They need to go.
Now, the one thing that is in our favour here is that they're too thick to be able to actually coordinate anything like this, because we know that they're a bunch of inbred goat fucking cousin fuckers. It's just not going to happen because they don't have the institutional power to be able to do it. On the internet, it looks like it when you see Mothin Ali stand up and shout Allahu Akbar. It looks like there's an Islamic takeover going on, but that is one ward in the country. The amount of Islamic people who have got positions where they're counsellors looks a lot on YouTube, but in reality, it isn't. It would take a lot more for them to be able to take over this country politically. But the point is that they have got ambition to do that, and we should be nipping it in the bud now before they get into positions where they can actually make a difference, which Shabana Mahmood is somebody that I think we need to be keeping an eye on. She definitely should not be in the position that she is in.
She is a snake in the tall grass.
She is.
And this is where I say, for anyone who wants to turn around and tell me, oh, there's so many moderate Muslims. Oh, okay, that's great. Where were all the moderate Germans during the Nazi occupation of Europe? Oh, that's right. The fundamentalists always control the moderates, so the moderates are irrelevant. Period.
And that's exactly why I think we need to start treating this ideology the way that we treat Nazi ideology, because the parallels are there. They are a politically driven ideology that believes in supremacy. It believes in conquering other lands. If we can't deal with it in an appropriate way, then it's going to be the downfall of our civilization, which unfortunately we have just let degrade through complacency in every single regard.
With everything going on in Europe at the moment, the UK, and what's starting to now happen in America, I don't think it's going to be long, maybe 30, 40 years at a push before the West, I should say, is going to start having that conversation. And obviously the West includes places like, although they don't do things the same way as us, places like Japan, they are fighting so hard to stop what we're trying to stop in our country. Places like Australia, places like New Zealand, they're not on the West, but they fall into a more westernized, friendly perspective.
I mean, you could say that there's an argument that because this system of governance is based on such sort of nebulous ideas and such ridiculous economics that it will eventually collapse under its own weight of stupidity. But there's also the argument that, well, isn't that perhaps the point? Is that what they want to happen eventually, is to cause economic collapse? Because if you do that, then you can fully restructure society where everyone already has these universal values. I mean, I'm not saying that's going to happen. It's just an idea that some people have.
What I wonder, just before, and then I'll completely shut up and let Wiz play his video. Say, for example, let's just as a hypothesis, Islam overtakes the world and eradicates everything that isn't Islam. And then when their revelation doesn't come true, what are they going to do with themselves then? Because they've destroyed the whole world, and now they've come to the realization, oh, they destroyed the whole world on their false religion, because Allah's not going to be showing up. Because that's what their book says. When they bring and subjugate the world to Islam, Allah will come down to earth.
I read something very interesting the other day, which was that during the first Gulf War, the Americans seriously considered, as part of Operation...
I thought golf was a really relaxed sport, mate.
Yeah, it is. You're right.
Oh.
You're correct. But yeah, during Operation Desert Storm, there was a proposition that was put forward by the CIA that they were going to use a holographic projection using mirrors and satellites of Allah, and they were going to project his image and his voice to the people in Baghdad so that they thought that the prophecies were coming true. And the only reason that they didn't do it was because they couldn't agree on what they thought Allah would look like.
Oh my God. I just can't even what the fuck about that. Like, seriously. In their own religion, it's illegal to even depict Muhammad. So how are they gonna,
What kind of
What if
bullshit?
God shows up? What, he's going to have no face? He's going to be completely. What is he not? Because I thought, according to all the two religions that came before Islam, mankind was created in God's image. So, what is he? He's going to have no face. He's going to have no arms and legs. Or also, what will God be then?
Will there even be God then? I mean, could there, for example, be an alien invasion and we find out that there's no such thing as God? What would happen then?
I personally.
See, we just don't know what would happen then.
Yeah.
Society would probably just collapse.
What I forgot to say a while back was I saw something and it made me chuckle. Muslims are petitioning to have a church stop ringing its bell because it's drowning out their call to prayer. And I think that was in Birmingham.
Fuck's sake.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, isn't it?
That call to prayer is the most vile thing ever. To me, it is like scraping fingernails down a blackboard. It has the same effect on me. It's horrible noise.
Yeah, that's a different one, by the way. I'm not putting the same one back up. It literally just popped up. 217. It's 217. You have to let me know who gets it because I can't see. John got the last one. Cheers, Phil. Appreciate it, mate. Appreciate it, mate. Geese. Cheers, geese. Let's get on with the video.
It's like it's the right of people in nations to make those determinations for themselves as well.
I just find that whole thing totally ludicrous. I mean, if you knew anything about net migration to the United Kingdom, it doesn't come from quote unquote countries. There are not people who are breaking into the country and trying to turn it into, I don't know, some sort of Islamic state. Like it's simply.
You what? Like, I'm going back on that. Like, she's going to say that again, ladies and gents, because that has got to. Oh, my mate.
Is he smoking crack? Because whatever she's smoking, I want some.
That has got to be the most stupidest thing I've ever heard. And we're going to have to hear it again because we're all going to have to watch this woman show. I mean, maybe her mum's also a sister and she's a closet Muslim and she's born through incest. I don't know. But what she just said there, literally, I suppose she didn't stand up and say that because that come out of her ass. That was ridiculous. Right. Let's all listen to this again. And see if we all get rattled like I just did, mate. I just went mental then. That really bugged me, that did. Right, here we go.
Determinations for themselves as well.
I just find that whole thing totally ludicrous. I mean, if you knew anything about net migration to the United Kingdom, it doesn't come from quote unquote countries. There are not people who are breaking into the country and trying to turn it into, I don't know, some sort of Islamic state. Like it's.
Who wants to speak first on that fucking stupid bollocks?
Well, I mean, she's absolutely right. I mean, there are no people who are coming here who want to turn it into a state. I've never seen any evidence of it whatsoever. People that are coming in are peaceful, moderate people who contribute to our diverse, wonderful, multicultural society and are a benefit of our system. And anyone who says otherwise is nothing but a far-right racist and a thug.
Oh my God, mate! I am beyond words. I'm trying to refrain from saying something because I'm probably just gonna just go off on one. But what has she not got any clue about illegal immigration? Oh, they're not forcing their way in the country. Well, they are. They're literally coming over illegally. That's why they're illegal, and they're all Muslim men. I mean, I saw a boat the other day, and I think I actually saw one female in it. The first time in about 7 months. Absolutely shock horror. A female.
Yeah.
What planet?
It might be the case that that the majority of the Muslims here are not necessarily trying to create a caliphate. That may be true, but that doesn't mean that there aren't people coming here who do want to do it, because there quite clearly are. And she's also got a point when she comes to mention net migration. But what she failed to mention about net migration is that is the bigger problem than illegal migration, because there were over 1 million people came in the last year and for the previous 2 years before that. Those are the problem. And a lot of them are Islamic because they're coming over here on work visas, student visas, and because of so-called family human rights. So she's completely wrong in what she says.
Yeah.
And she's a fuckwit.
Yep. Oh, lost for words on that. Right, I've got to see how she follows this up. I mean, there's no way she's not going to get mullered now. Like literally sponsored by yogurt, mate. Mullered. I mean, she's got to be classed as a fruit corner. This is just ridiculous. Right, let's see what she says.
Simply not happening here, and I really worry about the sort of talking points that you are spouting and potentially you are reading. I mean, I live in London. I've always lived in London. This is not a reality.
Who's your mayor? Who's your mayor in London?
What's actually incorrect?
There with
Yeah,
she just said.
And what about
said
Let's look at some more of your leaders.
She said the entire point of why she just said what she just said. I live in London. Yes, you live in London. London is nothing like the rest of the fucking UK. London, where white people are about 30%, is nothing like where I live. It's probably nothing like where you live, Wiz. And obviously, it's not going to be the same for Ace as you're in the same place. That is not the reality most of us live with. You might embrace that metropolitan elite mindset. You might think that it's great, Ava, but you do not speak for the rest of the country, and London no longer speaks for the rest of the country either. And the same for Piers, because he has that mindset as well.
Does anyone else agree that the
No.
mayor of the mayor of our capital city should be a native British only?
Yes.
Oh, so should MPs. Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All MPs should be Christian.
You should have grandparents at least as ancestry in order to be able to stand for an official position such as an MP, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I'd question that because when we were kicked out of, when we supposedly went round colonising the world, we were just kicked out.
That's true, we were.
So why don't we just return the favour, given the fact that we did leave them with railways, we left them with infrastructure, and what did they do with it all? No maintenance, and now none of it works.
Then came off here to scrounge off us and rape everyone.
And then blame us for it because, well, we did it first. Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much the size of it, yes.
Well, that's what happens. You've got an IQ below 70. You just can't fit into society.
No.
Below 70? I think you mean below 7.
Well, officially, actually, according to Andrew Wilson's research, he said if you've got an IQ of below 80, you actually find it hard to be in a social construct and fit into society. That's why I remembered it. Yeah, that's how I get educated. I don't read books. I listen to people. But yeah, I think it's below 80. I was like, wow, that sums it up. He said that's why the countries get worse and worse over time because they keep getting born and born and born, and they're all through incestuous line. They just literally end up too thick.
Well, that is a good point, actually, because if you were to go back in time, what would have happened is that those people would have died off much, much younger, and because they wouldn't have been getting support from the state. So the people that are the stupid people, effectively, where you've got the below IQs, they wouldn't have survived in the way that they are today. They wouldn't have been given support in the way that they are today. And so society as a whole would have had a higher IQ, and also the education standard was much higher.
So the quick answer should be the West and any westernized, westernized friendly culture. What we should all be doing then is basically just stop sending them any aid whatsoever, because technically the fact that we've been sending them aid is actually prolonging the problem.
And is preventing people here from making progress, because that money could, for example, be spent on helping to improve the attainment of white working class boys. I would much rather that money was spent on that and improving their life chances than I would on some load of bloody lesbian Africans in fucking Nigeria who've got nothing to do with this country.
Well, I think we need to support all the Muslims in the country because they're trying to do us through birth rate. So we need to give them money so they can have more kids.
I don't mind giving them money. Give them money, make them fuck off.
Rachel Reeves is fucking the country even further. She's removing the two-child cap.
Ace, come on, be fair. She has at least reduced the ticket prices to Legoland.
That went a while. Legoland, yeah. They showed a picture. A bloke, he's got 3 wives, 4 or 5 kids of each one, and he's smiling and saying the best thing that happened was the 2-child cap being removed because now they're all living like life of luxury. He's got about 50 kids with 3 different women, and he gets all the money.
And you've got that. And then you've got the image from yesterday of that fucking thug grinning because he got off, because they didn't get a verdict in the trial. And then you get people like Ava who try to make out that there's not a problem in our country when there quite clearly is.
Let's be honest, she's a French fry short of a Happy Meal, really, ain't she?
Yes, I think she spends far more time straightening her hair than she does on developing her intellect.
Yeah, definitely a can short of a 6-pack. I'll give you that one.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Christ. Bloody IQ away from being intelligent.
Hang on, Gavin, I will come to you. Andrew?
I just want to know what's actually incorrect about me saying if the people of the UK do not want any more migration of immigrants into their nation, can you give me a single moral argument for why that's
Well, that's simply not true. Well, where have you got that idea?
It bloody is true. We don't want no more Muslims. What the hell?
Well, that's where it's a difficult one, though, because we can say in this environment here, none of us want that, but there could also be an environment of a group of Avas who would say completely the opposite. And it's measuring how much of that is there. But you can say that there is
not enough murders and rapes. We want more. I mean, how retarded does Ava and co need to be then?
Exactly.
Mate, didn't realise I was going to get triggered twice in this. That's your fault, Trigger Christian, for having triggered in your name.
Yeah, I triggered Christian.
That's what Ava and bloody Piers talking absolute arse.
Look, that's the great thing about your channel, Wiz, is the fact that we can all congregate, we can talk, we can digest together, we can process together, and we can, feel like we're not alone in the way that we feel. Because you're not the only one who feels like that, mate. We all fucking feel like that.
Exactly.
Like, I'm triggered on a daily fucking basis watching the news. But I still watch it because if I don't watch it, I then don't know what's going on, and I'm in more danger if I don't know what's going on than if I do know what's going on. So
I agree, but that's why I would always try and caution the taking a step back approach from it and distinguishing between what we see online and what is actually occurring in our reality. Because if I look at the things that I see on YouTube, then I will feel very annoyed, very angry, thinking there's an Islamic takeover. If I walk into town, it's not like that at all. You wouldn't think that any of this stuff was happening. It's peaceful, it's safe. Yes, that's because of where I live, but there are lots of other people who live in environments where it is safe as well.
Yeah.
The media is doing it to wind you up, to make us divided against one another. And what we're seeing when having conversations like we have here is that, yes, we don't agree on every single thing. Of course we don't. But we want things to be better, and we can recognise the things that are wrong and the things that are unfair. We want something done about it before it's too late.
Yep, that's basically it. Oh my God, these people are just, and they actually get this on like Piers Morgan Uncensored. They're getting airtime. If it wasn't for people like Andrew Wilson and probably maybe Ben Habib and this bloke on the right, that get off my lawn, Mike, whatever. I don't know who he is. He's all huffing and that. He's getting ready. So
he's the leader of the Proud Boys in America. They're the ones that apparently were behind the insurrection around Donald Trump in the January, the whatever date it was thing. They're essentially like a group of far-right activists. They're not the KKK, but they're sort of the modern equivalent in terms of how people on the left would see them.
Is it January the 9th thing? Storming that place or something.
That's it.
Okay.
Are you saying Ace? I was going to say we tend to use the word agitators.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But that's Valentina Gomez and co. Hence, have been banned. Far right agitators, far right alligators, mate. They were there chomping on everything. destroying it, wasn't it? But, bloody. Oh no, you said alligators. There's also crocodiles. You're discriminating. Piss off. Just thought I'd get that.
Isn't there another one as well? There's one that's in between.
The belt. What?
There's another type as well. I can't think what it's called.
There probably is. Lizards.
Cayman. That's it. Cayman.
Oh yeah, the Cayman. Yeah. Oh, but then don't forget Komodo dragons. Oh, shut up. Where are we going? Anyway, shut up. Right, this is really bugging me. My brain goes all scatty at moments like this. That's when I get irritated and I start like fidgeting and all that, and I'm just like, oh mate. Oh. Right, count to 3. Right, we're ready to go for this. Please, Andrew Wilson, bring the sense back onto this planet.
Apart from Tommy Robinson, other than Tommy Robinson, Andrew, honestly, to be honest, other than Tommy Robinson marching around the airways in America saying that, I have not seen any poll in the UK which says the UK people don't want any coming into the country.
Yeah, I understand.
Right, I'm doing a poll on YouTube.
He won't see it though with
Muslims. Or I'm going to put one up on X as well.
Yeah, send it to him on X.
I'll call it, do you want any more Muslims in the UK?
Notice
Yes,
what he
no.
said though. He said,
Don't know.
I haven't seen a poll that says that. That doesn't mean that there aren't polls out there that exist.
Yeah,
I'm gonna tag him in
he is very astute with his words, Piers Morgan.
Yeah.
He's a lot of
probably
Piers
has.
Morgan is a lot of things, a fucking cunt being one of them. But one thing that he is definitely not is stupid.
Yeah. He's just acting like an absolute retarded idiot.
It's not true.
That's not my question. My question is, if it were the case that the people of the UK no longer wanted migration into their nation, what is even the moral argument against that? What?
I am very concerned about actually Christian evangelicism that's seeping over into the United Kingdom from the United States. And I think that that is actually a source for much of our discontent. I've always lived in London and we don't have a single problem with integration between religions in the country. I've never experienced that in my life. May I
go to Harrods?
Did she just say what I thought she said? Did she just say that there is a single problem with religious integration?
Yeah.
She did just
Never
say
seen
that.
it.
He also blamed Christianity when Christianity's not the one going around chopping people's heads off and declaring they want to globalize the Intifada. So what the fuck?
Now, where she does have a point is that I'm also with her on the idea of muscular Christianity coming over and importing it over to here. I don't like it. It is a very American thing, but it's very different over there because it's very much associated with the gun culture, which obviously we don't have here. But if people are into that and they want to do it, that's fine. They're not causing me any harm whatsoever. But she's completely missing the problem. As Ace says, they're not the ones that are going around killing people. They're not the ones who are going around being violent. So even if it is muscular Christianity, that is better than the other side, the other shit that we're opposed to.
Would you not agree that Christianity historically has been quite masculine?
Yes.
And that maybe it's become softer as we've, come into the generations where, I wasn't going to church when I was younger. I've only started doing that now that I'm older because I've realised that if we lose Christianity, something else is going to replace it. So we all need to be attending churches to keep them open.
Well, I agree.
I'm not doing it because I enjoy going to church. I'm doing it because the country needs it. Because if Christianity goes, there's only going to be one thing that's going to replace it, and we are not going to like it.
I agree with the sentiment very much. The motto of my town is "Let us forever hold fast to the old virtues," which is something that I very much hold on to myself and live my life by that way, because I think that there's a reason why we had those virtues. We should hang on to them. And I'm not a Christian, but obviously I was brought up in a Christian environment. I went to a Catholic primary school. I know what it's like going into churches, and I don't go in them to pray. If I go into churches, I go in there because it's to do with the history of the church. It's to do with the tradition of the area. And for example, one of the churches in my town has been there since the Saxon times, and it's been.
That's where you're going wrong, mate. You're talking crap. You've got to go in there, you smash the place up, and you burn it down in the name of Islam. I mean, what are you talking about?
Shout Allahu Akbar.
No, I go in there and I light a candle for the people who are missing. Whenever I go into a church, that's a tradition that I have. If on the rare occasions that I go into them. But looking in my area, that you'd see it a lot. There are churches, like I say, that have been there since the Saxon times. There are Norman churches. You know, you can literally see in front of you the tradition of the country.
I mean, I didn't realise with some of the buildings, I mean, I know some of them are quite old, but I didn't realise quite how old. You know Windsor Castle?
Yeah.
Do you know who that was built by?
Fred down the road.
William the Conqueror. William the Conqueror built Windsor Castle over 1,000 years ago.
There you go.
Can Google it. I genuinely didn't believe it myself, and I Googled it. And
well, the castle in my town was built in 1162.
It's just crazy.
And it's not hugely impressive to look at today, but the fact that it's been there for that long is really, really impressive. And it's a really important symbol of our town. And in the 30s, the person who owned it privately actually gave it over to the town. So it is really, you know, part of the tradition of where I live. It's something that has been there for all of that time. It's always been part of where we live. It's, like I say, it's a symbol of our town. It's got tradition, there's folklore attached to it. People, even after it was still in ruins, used to live in there if they were poor. It's, you know, it's just a really important part of our town, and I would absolutely hate to see that tradition get blown up by a load of fucking Muslims.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Well, it's
Grace.
Yeah, we're 6 minutes 20 seconds in out of 14 minutes. That's not bad for an hour and 36. Right, crack on.
I'd like to stay on Sadiq Khan for one moment there. Sadiq Khan has won a landslide victory on his third term. That's 3 times he has been elected as mayor of London. Now, if there was a huge problem with Sadiq Khan, why on earth, with such a huge proportion of Londoners from all creed, all race, why would they continue to
Because
vote him
London's
in?
gone. London isn't Britain anymore.
Where's it gone?
When was the last time you were here?
Where is London gone?
60% of Londoners weren't born in London. They weren't born in the United Kingdom. I think that's the point Andrew's making.
Where is London gone? But the point I was going to make about the United Kingdom march, now let me bring Andrew back in here. I don't pretend for a moment that we have not had a poor record in controlling immigration to this country this century, right? We have had 2 problems. One, we've had the issue of small boats coming over the channel from France, which has been completely uncontrolled. And we've had between 40 and 60,000 people a year coming in illegally. And once they get here, it's almost impossible to send them anywhere else. And so they've been put up in hotels at expense to the taxpayer, cause a lot of social anger and unrest. And it should have been tackled years ago. We've also had a massive issue with legal migration, where under Tony Blair, a Labour Prime Minister, but also then fueled by successive Conservative Prime Ministers, we have allowed too many people to come into the country legally with too many dependents. I don't think these things are contestable. They're just a reality of what we've done in this country. But the narrative that we are being overrun by Muslims is untrue. And that is also, I think, a demonstrable fact in this country.
How can us bringing too many people in then not be contestable? Like, shouldn't we be questioning what we're doing? Or should we just blindly, you know, step forward into the future, hoping everything's going to work out okay? What a ridiculous thing to say.
I mean, we have a right to say who comes into this country. This is our land.
And just for anyone that doesn't know, by the way, he made another comment about that he doesn't feel that we've messed up with migration this side of the century. just a little fact for everyone that might not be aware. We in the UK have been tracking immigration since Henry VIII's days. That was back in the 1500s. From Henry VIII's time until the year 2000, we had less migration than what we've had from 2000 to 2025. So I think you need to do some fact checking, Piers.
Yeah. Good night, Phil.
Oh, oh yeah.
That was it. That was
No,
it.
it's true. I mean, all of us, I can see there's a lot of people in the comments are noting our traditions here. I mean, there are things like such as Stone Age arrowheads that have been found around in our area. That's how long people have been living here and inhabiting where we are. That's how long our traditions are. It predates Christianity by thousands and thousands of years. Christianity is a very important part of our modern society as it is today, but it hasn't always been. There's a much longer tradition that goes back beyond that. And that is what we're worried about losing. And the reason that people are focusing on Muslims is because of their behavior, because of the way that they like to conquer everywhere, and the fact that they actually come out and tell us that that's what they want to do. It's not just people imagining it.
Just a quickie on the Christianity thing. Christianity's actually been in the UK since 70 AD. 70 AD.
Wow. I was going to say something, I forgot. What was I going to say? Don't know. That's really
Yeah, I mean, we've got
I've done an ace.
Sorry,
we
Wiz.
have in Norfolk, we have a place called Grimes Graves, which is essentially mining pits that were dug in the Stone Age. You know, that just goes to show how long the tradition goes on in our country of people living here, continuing, passing on skills, traditions, laws, language. All of those things build up over time and to create a culture and a system of values. And what we've got and what people are objecting to is the fact that a rival system of values has been allowed to come into this country. We don't want it here. We want to get rid of it, and people are actively acting against us to prevent that from happening. And what is happening on top of that is that there is a political corruption that is occurring, because there's absolutely no way someone who's as much of a prick as Sadiq Khan can get that many votes. There's surely some form of vote rigging going on there, or block voting, or something else that's going on there. It's absolutely nonsense. But I think what Piers is trying to say is that they're exaggerating the threat. And like I said earlier, yes, there is a point to that. But we also have to be quite clear that there is a big problem and does need to be dealt with. And it needs to be dealt with in the way that one would deal with an invasive species, because it's the only way to deal with it.
Yeah, 100%.
And I'm just concerned that the problem with Robinson is that he spews all this stuff all the time. If you look at his social media feed, the only crimes he focuses on are crimes perpetrated by Muslims. And yet the vast majority... Hang on, Gary. I'm talking to Andrew. And yet the vast majority of crime in the UK is committed by white people, including...
Per capita.
Including...
You don't understand per capita?
Including the vast majority of crime is done by white people.
Yeah, but what?
I've got a good point here, Wiz. I realised this morning. You'll like this statistic. Let's play along with Piers Morgan's logic here. So he's saying that because numerically there are more white people committing crime, then they're the ones who are more responsible. So he's not looking at per capita. He's just looking at number. If you want to play that game, then you can say that the most racially discriminated group against in this country is white people, because numerically there are more racial accusations against white people than there are of any other minority groups.
Mic drop moment, Jake. Brilliant. Love it.
So,
because he only focuses on crime.
Well, hang on. When you say that there's various stats which are misleading, Gavin did ask a pertinent question. When you say that most crime is committed by white people, well, it should be. That's still the dominant racial element in England. What about per capita, meaning per proportion?
No, but my question.
Hang on, real quick. I'm almost done.
Okay.
Is there a disproportionate amount of crime from these immigrants in comparison to the domestic population? That's his question. I think it's valid.
Specifically, child.
Well,
Specifically.
actually, the vast majority of child is perpetrated in the UK by white people.
Not asking about
Per
that.
capita.
We're asking
capita.
about per
Okay,
capita.
but why does Tommy Robinson? I don't know the per capita number. I'll get it while we're talking.
Yes, you
85%
do.
of gang rapes in this country are perpetrated by South Asian men, according to the Quillian report of 2017.
Well, actually, they were British Pakistani men, to be specific, in parts of the north of England, right?
Kashmir, which was Pakistan.
Yeah, from Mirpur, mostly from
That's
Mirpur.
what the rally's about on May
Absolutely.
16th.
But my point,
capita.
Andrew,
It's
is
the per capita rally.
My point to Andrew is it helpful that Tommy Robinson only fuels a narrative that all the crimes are being committed by Muslims when they're not?
I'm not convinced that
That's
that's
an insane
actually
question.
accurate. So it seems I've watched a few of the Robinson debates, and he tends to focus on disproportionate crime rates. What Gavin's talking about here, which is per capita. He's saying that disproportionate to the domestic population that's here, these people are overwhelmingly committing these types of crimes. That doesn't sound to me like he's trying to pin everything on, but rather point out an individualistic and precise problem.
So we have
we
have the data for you. The arrest rates by ethnicity per 1,000 people for the year ending March 2025. 19 arrests per 1,000 people. White, 10 arrests per 1,000 people. Asian, 9 arrests per 1,000 people.
Yeah, now
So 19. So it's the highest. You said 19, wasn't it? Per
But
1,000
he doesn't
are
have per
Muslim.
capita numbers, though. That's the point.
Say that again, Jake.
He doesn't have the per capita numbers, so it defeats the
No,
whole
but
point.
he's saying-
He's doing is saying the numbers.
But even that, though, surely 19 people per 1,000 are Muslim, 10 per 1,000 are white, and 9 of whatever else he said. I've gone back, so we'll play it again. But that
Yeah.
basically shows you straight away, doesn't it? Because they're only like 6% of the country, but there's 19 per 1,000. So that destroyed his own argument, did it not?
Yes.
Or have I misunderstood? Yeah. So Piers looks a
Yeah,
twat.
no, you're right. You are right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to play it again anyway, so we can hear it
In
again.
March 2025. 19 arrests per 1,000 people. White, 10 arrests per 1,000 people. Asian, 9 arrests per 1,000 people.
now
That's
do
not
child.
answering the question.
And
Okay,
the
so now
problem
you want
is
to
that
narrow
they're
it
not
down
getting
again and again and
arrested,
again.
Piers.
Okay, you asked me.
Thousands of girls
You
are
asked
getting-
me. Asked me to give
What a
you
weird side to pick.
the pro
You're mad at
rata
the guy
numbers.
who's trying to stop
There you
child.
go. You sound unhinged.
So they make up 4%
I
of
am
the
unhinged.
population, but make up 18% of all the people jailed, Pierce? What? Am I reading that right? Is that correct? I just want to make sure that I got this right. You said you're going to get these per capita numbers, and
Yeah.
I want them. Like, what are they? What are the per capita numbers? Because what I'm seeing is not looking very good. Okay, it's not looking very good for your side. So what are they? What is the actual
Why
per capita
are you
numbers for these
avoiding the
child sex
subject?
crimes?
I find it
Like, why do
extraordinary.
you call someone when they point this out?
I've literally just told you the arrest rates for ethnicity, and they speak for themselves.
Can you just
Well,
pause it
no,
one sec, please?
Well, they
What
do.
did you-
What is, I think, I'm finding really interesting is that they're grouping a whole bunch of different countries under the term of Asian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not very specific because the Chinese are Asian, the Indians are Asian, the Japanese are Asian,
Well,
North
happens to
Korean,
the numbers,
South
Ace?
Korean.
What happens to the numbers if you introduce the Chinese into that metric?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Then, of course, the numbers look much more spread out and diluted, don't they? If you were to specify South Asian or Pakistani, you'd have a very different answer.
Yeah, that's why I say I find it very interesting that they're only categorizing by Asian because
Yeah.
that's not specific at all.
No, and I've looked at all of the reports that have been mentioned. I've been through them all online as well, so people will know that that is true. And what is categorically clear is that the information that we have is incomplete because a lot of constabularies did not record ethnicity for obvious reasons. Where we do have that data, it is overwhelmingly obvious that Pakistani Muslims are behind these grooming gangs. There's no way anyone can argue against that. But where it gets difficult and where they'll try and get a bit of wiggle room is because we don't have the complete data. So we can't say that it's across the entire country because we don't know. But we can, I think, assume that wherever there is a large Pakistani community, this will happen. And I'm pretty sure that would correlate with the amount of crimes you would have there.
If that's how they run their own countries, again, they're not just going to abandon all of that the second they get into this country, are they? So
Exactly.
Use the word.
Actually speak for themselves. I'm not pretending Muslims don't commit crimes. So does every other ethnicity and religion commit
God.
It's
crimes.
not like this
Horseshit
splitting hairs.
there.
I do think if we're talking
Yeah,
about
that's not
child
splitting hairs, and now you're focused on white because you don't understand per capita.
I'm not focused on
Look,
white. I'm
isn't this
talking
all about
about
class?
the issue.
The working class has had enough.
You don't feel
The
comfortable
working class had enough of your accent and the way you ignore things because they're not fashionable. Sorry, I'm sorry that recognizing gangs is not fashionable.
What?
What are you talking about, man?
I've just gone
I'm
on
talking about
grooming
you guys
gangs.
denying that we have a modern Islamic problem with child. That's what these rallies are about. You guys want to diffuse it and say, well, white males do it too, and let's ignore per capita.
That's not
you're,
what
you're
I said.
Playing it down.
That's not what I said
What?
at all. That's just not
by
what I said.
You focusing on white males, you're trying to dilute the
Focus on white
equation.
males.
My point, which started all this, is that if you read Tommy Robinson's X feed, for example, you will never see anything about white males committing crimes. Why?
Because he's
Because it's not the thing he's trying to draw attention to.
Exactly, because he's focused on Muslims
and you're not.
24/7. Oh, I'm focused on everyone and all crimes.
Okay, can you play back your
What I'm
segments on
not
the gangs of
voting,
Rotherham?
I'm not
Can you
telling
show me
millions
your
of
piece
people
on-
every day
on the
that the only
gangs
problem
in
in this
Manchester?
country is the taking over, because it's bullshit. Anyway,
Okay,
we've got
let's
you there.
let's stop
Will
there
you-
with, because where I think he does have a point, it's massively overplayed. But I think it is relevant that a lot of people only ever hear about Tommy Robinson talking about Muslims, so it gives the impression to those people that that's all he talks about. The march at the weekend, as far as my understanding is, was not solely about the Muslim child rape. It was also about uniting people as well, and also about spreading a Christian message. But to some people, they are only choosing to hear anti-Islamic content, when really what he's trying to do is actually he's saying, look, this is a problem that's going on. We need to deal with it. You need to stop pretending that it isn't happening.
Yep.
yeah, agreed.
Yeah, that is an excellent point.
I've gone blank because I don't understand, like, where's Piers coming from when because he's saying, oh, I concentrate on everything, and basically the gentleman with the glasses in the corner, what was his name? I've gone blank.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I don't know.
I don't know, but I
Him.
like him. Piers
Yeah,
Morgan,
he's-
like I said earlier, he's playing the trying to stay relevant card. So he's going to say anything he can just to stay in the news because he knows he's not relevant anymore.
I don't know
But how
about
can you
relevant.
talk about Muslims and a potential Muslim problem if you've got idiots like Piers going, yeah, but white people, yeah, but white people? You're like, no, we are actually specifically talking about the Muslim community to raise awareness of. Oh, yeah, but what about white people? Like, Piers, are you stupid? It's like
that's
he's
not
trying
what we're
to.
talking about.
Yeah,
you're-
exactly.
you-
I mean, it's like us talking about
Exactly.
Islam and someone comes in and goes, by the way, Judaism. What? We're not talking
Yes.
about.
You're precisely correct. That is what he is doing. He's also cherry picking his statistics as well and being very economical with the facts that he is giving, which of course is what anyone does when they're trying to present an argument. But he doesn't. He is not showing an awareness of the full situation. I'm not convinced that he necessarily believes that, but I did think it was hilarious when Colonel Sanders on the bottom right there said about Ava being fashionable, because I think he obviously is cottoned on to that, exactly her mindset, that she's full of shit. She's just saying whatever's popular.
Yeah, she wants all the Muslims to view her and keep viewing her and giving her all the likes. And I think that's what Piers is like. He's probably scared of the Muslim community.
Yeah, I mean, what she didn't say, and I think that this is very noteworthy, is that, yes, you're quite right, Ava. The majority of sex attacks in this country are committed by white men, but the majority of victims are white women. Didn't mention that, did you? And per capita, the number of sex attacks on white women happen to be committed by, guess where from?
London.
Well, probably from London, yeah, because there's very few English people there.
But that's the argument I always say. Like, we do have our own criminals. We've got our own sickos and PDFs and God knows what. So why do we want more, really?
Exactly. Nobody is saying that our white society is perfect. Nobody is saying that. And nobody is also saying that it has to remain white. That's not a part of the equation. The point that is being raised in this conversation is we've got a Muslim problem. It's not just terrorism. It's not just the attitude that they have. There's also the sex attacks as well. And if you're not talking about it, then you're being complicit in allowing it to continue because you're perpetuating it by silence in conversation.
Yeah, basically enabling it.
Yeah.
Watching the rally, Gavin, on the weekend? Will you be
I'll
tuning
be there
in?
with bells on, just like I was at the last one with the other 3 million people.
Right. Yeah. Well, okay. Why don't we count them when you're there? Because you'll find that
Well, you can just look at the shots.
you'll
Look at the
find you're
pictures from the helicopter he got, 'cause he knew you would lie.
2,850,000 short. No. These are the police figures from the march. 150,000
reliable.
maximum. But don't tell me. Don't tell me.
Rely on the deep
they lied.
state. Let's
the
rely on
police
the elites,
lied.
the
Of course
state.
they would. Why would the police lie about a crowd number?
Because the state hates Tommy Robinson. They're throwing him in jail 10 times for nothing.
Well, hang on.
They threw him
Speaking
in
of
jail
numbers-
for a
speaking
series of
numbers,
crimes.
We never did get those numbers.
Go look
We
up the
never. I'm
crimes.
just pointing that out. We never did get those numbers. Speaking of numbers, did ask for them anytime, but I never actually got the numbers to demonstrate whether or not there's disproportionate criminality from the UK, especially when it comes to crime.
I will tell you
Just
this.
saying.
I will get those numbers,
We all
and we
know.
will talk about this again. We will get all the pro rata numbers for all types of crime in this country. But
I
the
look
fact,
forward to you guys catching up to us. I look forward to you and your posh accents catching up to the rest of the world.
mate, no disrespect, but you live in America where I think how many is it?
Yes.
40,
yeah. You know,
40?
white people are doing it too. You know, it's a general problem. It's all over the place.
I love this guy. Oh my god.
It's so it stresses them
I
out
actually think
incredibly.
your accent is a crime. And on that note, I'm gonna round off this
Sod off.
debate. Thank you all very much. I appreciate it.
Let's go sod off. Yeah. Oh my God, that's a good little ending. But
Yeah.
I did notice the UTK this time round. I can't think of the website, but they've looked at it. The police were saying there's 100 to 110,000. This website actually done a proper drone, like whatever, and they worked out there's at least 220,000. So the police did lie this time round.
Yeah. It's really
And-
difficult to get accurate numbers, and it goes back to what I was saying at the beginning. Really, we are in a reality war of information, because you're going to have one side is saying this, another side is going to tell you this, and you've got no idea which one is true. The one that you believe in is the one that you've got faith in.
Yeah.
All I could honestly say is it looked to me like there were several thousand people there. I couldn't tell you how many.
But if
Yeah.
you zoomed in and you saw that was 4 lanes next to each other, because obviously
It was a
2
lot.
going one way, 2 going the other, you must have had at least a 40 wide person in one, line, all standing shoulder to shoulder. That would have been at least 40 people just to cover those 4 lanes.
There was I can't remember which channel it was, because it was a left-wing one that I had a look at, but it was someone was talking about the numbers, and they showed a picture and said, look, there was fuck all people there. But the picture was quite clearly taken early in the day as people were setting up the stage, and the first wave were coming in. So Parliament Square was only about half full. And yet they're passing that off as saying, look, this is how many people were there. And that's what I mean. You've got so many different competing versions of what is apparently the truth being put out there, it's difficult for anyone to know what they're actually seeing anymore.
Yeah. I was just going to say, give the gospel of Jesus. Thanks for the membership donation. You never guess who got it. You never guess. Electrodoc. What are the odds?
Hey.
Today.
Wow.
How is How is he? I haven't spoke to him in a while.
No, I haven't seen him for a while.
No, he's put it some new girlfriend before the whiz.
Yeah.
So, like,
Ooh.
whatever.
Off with his fancy
Gert.
teeth.
Oh, Gert, isn't it? Yeah.
I mean, what I thought was
good
quite
for him.
interesting about that debate was that I don't think I've ever seen Andrew Wilson that calm before.
No, he done quite well there, didn't he?
Did do well.
But yeah, that I knew that Ava was going to be an absolute train wreck. She's horrible.
She is. She's really horrible. And what she does with Based and Bougie is even worse.
Is it? I've got that
Yeah.
coming Sunday, isn't it? I try not to watch them. Do you know what I mean?
Well-
Because like it's more off the cuff, but
Yeah. It's only because I watched it live that I saw. I happened to watch it. If I hadn't seen it live, I wouldn't have recommended it.
so I need to look at your email link as well, because you sent the one about Base and Bougie doing her own bit to say her final bit, wasn't it? So I'm
Yes, she did.
an hour in where I might watch them both beforehand, just so I've got like a heads up. I might try that because I don't normally do it. I just go in raw. I am raw. That sounds quite gross.
She did a really great interview with the Jewish guy. He's bald and got like a moustache that goes into the, I don't know what they call it, where it goes into the beard, but it doesn't go to the sides of the face. He's just got like the moustache that goes and covers the bottom. Oh, is that what they call it? Yeah, he's got one of those. He interviewed Base and Bougie on GBN News, and her interview was impeccable. She did really, really well. She made some excellent points.
Yeah, I've actually been quite impressed with her recently, because I remember when she first came out, seeing her and thinking she was a bit of a novelty, and she came across, to be honest, as a bit thick. And I think she is a little bit intellectually deficient, but she has actually improved herself a lot, and she comes out with really good points that she can't always express it very well. But I think that she is a genuine asset to the country. I think she gets what people believe in, and I think that she's someone that I think is a worthwhile voice to have. And I'm glad that she's got a bit more attention recently. And I think it's unfortunate the way Piers Morgan treated her, because I think she deserved better than that.
Yeah. Do you guys know who Barack is? Or
Yes, I know he is.
Yeah,
Barack Obama.
he's another. Yeah, he's another one I think's absolutely great. Like people like that who want to come here, contribute, coexist, no problem. But again, that we need to have like a conversation. I said this a while ago. It's going to have to come up eventually when we have to have a national conversation about, what percentage of nativity or native people that we want in our population, and what percentage of non-native people that we're prepared to accept in our population.
Yeah.
And until that conversation's had, we are going to be stuck in this situation.
Yeah, we are. And it's all very well and good to say that we shouldn't have let it happen in the first place. Well, it happened, and we've now got to deal with it. And it's how we deal with it that's going to determine our future.
Yeah.
And it is vital. But like I said several times, it really is important to distinguish between what we see online and what is actually happening in our reality. Because like I said before, I can just, as soon as we finish on here, I can walk away from here, go and sit in the garden in the sun, and there'll be no Muslims, there's no mosques around here, there'll be no problem. Now, I get that that's not the same for everyone where they live, but I'm sure as well that the Islamic threat is not on their doorstep.
There was a proposal that was put forward. An interview was done with Barack and the guy that runs Britain First, whatever his name is.
Oh, Golding.
Yeah, Golding. And they were talking about immigration. and he was saying about that we should have, going back to what I said earlier, about a certain percentage of native and a certain percentage of not native.
Yeah.
Completely forgotten where I was going with that, guys. I am so sorry. My brain is literally dead.
What you were saying is that you think that there should be a certain percentage of native-born people here so that we can preserve the integrity of the country and make sure that it remains Britain.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. But the British aren't, we don't want any black people here. We don't want any Asian people here. It's not that at all. Like,
we don't want too many of them.
Yeah, we can't. We're an island, like less than half the size of France, and we've got 10 million more. And that was the last time I checked. That figure was like 5 years ago. 5 years ago, we had 10 million more people in our country than what France has got in theirs.
Yeah.
And we're like just over a third of the size of France.
Yeah.
So
that's why when people in America talk about having this problem with Islam, then they've got nothing to worry about, because there's vast areas of nothing in America where you could go and send these people to go and live, such as Death Valley, for example. Loads of space there, wonderful real estate.
Well, they're used to the desert, aren't they?
Exactly. So it'd be a home from home for them.
Yeah. And they all like death, so yeah, sounds great.
Yes, they do. I was just going to mention, somebody I like to watch who makes me laugh, who's an American, is Lily Gaddis. I think she's hilarious because she just always talks about black people's behaviour and how bad it is, and then laughs about it. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, have a look at her. I'll put her name in.
There's another lady that I watch from South Africa. She's also black, doing the same thing, like, saying Black Lives Matter, obviously. White lives matter, obviously. All life matters, obviously. But when it's looked at within a racial spectrum, black people and white people, we behave completely differently. We really do.
Yeah, we do.
And again, that is subject to whether you were raised in in the UK. Barack, for example, black fella, he doesn't behave like that because he was raised here. But we're bringing, like I've said earlier, people in that are from that side of the world, and they just do not do things like we do. No, and we're still expecting them to be able to integrate. I think that's actually a bit unfair. We're asking them to step up to a standard they don't even understand. Why are we inviting them to this country? We're inviting them here to fail. That's not exactly a nice thing to do, in my opinion.
Like the conversation we were having last night about universities and letting black people in there to fail because they're not up to the standard.
Mm.
But I just don't see why they need to bring these people in anyway. We don't need them. We've got enough people in this country who can fulfill all of the work criteria that we have. It's not like we've got a surplus or a deficit of workers. We've got enough. We don't need them here. The reason that they're here is because they're cheaper. That's all it is. They're cheaper and they provide a temporary boost to GDP. They don't do anything to improve productivity or anything like that.
And a lot of the migration that we've welcomed was on the assumption that at some point they would actually go back home.
Yes, people forget.
But that's also not happened.
That is true. And also, if you look back at the discussions people were having at the time, when the first lot, the Windrush lot came in, which, don't forget, it was only hundreds of people. It wasn't thousands, it was hundreds. People then were saying, look, we've got to be careful about this. But what they did was they were too complacent. They didn't think as many people would come over as actually did. So they've, from the very start of introducing this, they've had their eye off the ball and have got it completely wrong.
It's kind of sad, really, because to not be able to see the forest for the trees,
Yeah.
it's like that's actually quite sad, and
Yeah, I
also shows that it kind of shows the naivety of the way the West thinks. Like you said earlier about you know, we need to look at them as a different. And I don't want to use the word species, but we do. We need to look at them as a different species because they quite literally behave completely differently to us,
They do.
almost like they are another species.
Yeah, they're
You know,
no
like
thought.
cats and dogs don't behave the same way.
No, you're
Black people
absolutely right, Ace.
don't
You're right.
behave the same way. So
If you look at a situation such as the role of women in the household, so a husband slaps his wife across the face. In our culture, this is wrong. This is a crime. This is something that somebody could be and should be arrested for and should be shunned from society for doing. And under an Islamic system, the husband is doing the right thing.
it's almost morally obliged
the husband
to.
is doing the right thing because he's enforcing Islamic law across his household, which is what he is expected to do. So the way of thinking is completely different. It's completely perverted if we look at it from our perspective. And the mistake people like Ava make is in thinking that everybody has the same way of thinking that she does when they don't.
I've tried to explain this to my brother. He's about 4.5, 5 years younger than me. And he has this opinion that, you know, well, they all just want to come over here for a better life. And I'm like, really? Come on. If they really wanted to just come here for a better life, why is unemployment absolutely through the roof? Why are they a net depreciation? They're not a net contribution. They're a net depreciation. That means they're a drain. They're not coming here for better opportunities. They're coming here to drain us of everything we've got. And then when we've got nothing left, they're then going to take the country.
Yeah, people can want a better life as much as they like. They don't have a right to have one. You have the way you get a better life is through two things: the choices that you make and luck. And your chances can be improved if you're from a family that has got networking traditions enormously. But ultimately, your position in life depends upon the choices that you make, the choices that people around you make, and the luck that arrives.
Yeah, that's there are only three things that can change the course of your life: your decisions, other people's decisions, and random events, which is basically what you've just said.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that was quite an interesting discussion we've had today, wasn't it? Aren't we intellectuals?
We are, and I'm trying to bring up sex crimes in the UK per capita by race, then by ethnicity, then by Muslims,
Won't
and
find it.
even ChatGPT's like, well, when discussing this, you need to be careful.
The reason that you won't find it is because it wasn't recorded for most of the cases. If you want to find out per capita, then I think I'm right in saying that it's on page 83 of the J report.
Oh, wow.
The only reason that I know that is because it was on someone who I won't mention's live. I did a thing on it, and I remember it's got a pie chart, and it shows how many of the what are they called, perpetrators were Muslims, and it is something like 78% or something like that. It's definitely page 82, 3 or 4. It's one of those in the most recent J report.
J is, how do you spell J report?
As a J-A-Y.
Yeah, right, cool.
But there are two J reports. You want the one that's most recent, and you'll know it's the right one because you'll see it's a huge pie chart.
Pie chart, right, cool.
I know that sounded quite impressive, didn't it? That I could tell you
pie chart, and then she disappeared. Look, she's like, "Oh, pie. Did you mention pie?" But yeah, I'll investigate. I will investigate because that'd be quite cushy. But 2 hours and 15 minutes for a 15-minute video. I'm not saying a word, but
let's not forget as well. It was an extra bonus session for this week as well, wasn't it?
It was. It's a Brucey bonus today. So yeah, hopefully people will be in the comments later going, "Oh, you not talking's boring. Watch it live then. It's more entertaining."
We got through the whole thing though.
Yep, we did. Luckily, because it was only 15 minutes. Any longer, mate, we'd have been here till what, 7, 8, 9?
I know we would have been, but it was good to have Ace on board today. Good to get another voice in there. It allows the conversation
definitely
to go out further.
Yeah, but because like some sort of stuff she says, we sort of agree, but not wholly. And that's how you want it. Because a lot of what me and you say as well, we agree on. And sometimes it's good to, yeah, you're watching whatever, but you get like, you know, a quick 3, 4, 5 minute debate because there is a slight discrepancy in what we're thinking. Do you know what I mean? Between us. And that's what I like. Makes for a lot more interesting.
It's a really good idea to look at what the opposite view is. And that's what critical thinking really actually is. It's, can you argue against your own point? You know, could you dismantle your own point? And if you can, then it obviously isn't very good. But that's really what it's about, arguing against yourself.
Yep, definitely. Well, there we go, ladies and gents. The bonus stream for a Friday is
good
done.
to have you here, Ace.
Well.
Yeah,
Yes,
it was good
it
to be here.
was. Ace is back.
I had you mentioned pie charts, and I came across quite a funny pie chart this morning, and I was just looking for it on my phone, which is why I accidentally backed out of the chat.
I said you went because of a pie, so I was right.
You were right, yeah.
How do I send you something? Oh wait, there's a chat box. I don't know if you'll be able to put this on the screen, Wiz. Hang on. How do I get a picture in there?
Don't talk about steaks in the chat. I want a steak now. Don't do that. Don't tease.
Chicken and mushroom, but I hate chicken. I hate mushroom.
I like pie, but only if it's got flaky pastry. I don't like short crust pastry. Too dry.
I like apple pie, rhubarb, and crumble.
But
no, it's crumble, isn't it?
I was lucky in many regards in that my mother is a very good cook, and she cooks in a very old-fashioned way with everything's done, you know, with butter and milk and all kinds of stuff. It's great. And I was very fortunate in that yesterday morning she dropped me off some of her rather charming cakes that she'd baked, so I can't really complain. I've got cakes if I haven't got a steak. That will do me. Yeah.
I'm sure if you moved the letters around and added a C, you could get a cake from steak.
Yeah, you probably could. But you know, it's been good, and it's good to see everyone in the chat as well. Always a pleasure to see everyone there and hear what they've got to say, or see what they've got to say rather. Helen wants an ice cream. Well, you've almost touched upon one of my favourite things in the world there, which is sorbet, which I will just sit and eat and eat and eat all day long if I can. I love it. Love cold things.
Got to be done. I love ice cream. Yeah, Cornish ice cream is just divine. But,
yeah. Any ice cream.
Yeah. Yeah, cakes and steaks should be a song. You press the button again, Ace.
Sorry, guys. Just the bloody back button on my phone to back out of the chat closes StreamYards on my phone. It's bloody stupid. I don't know how I send you something, Wiz. I can send a text message to you via the chat box, but I can't send you a picture. Oh, I know how I do it.
Not got an option to present. Oh God, I'll be sat funny. I tell you, the back of my bum hurts.
Don't ask me. I've no idea how to even use half the things that are on my phone. I very rarely ever use it. The only time I ever use my phone is if I get a text, and as I don't give my number out, I very rarely get text.
No, I use it with WhatsApp when I'm talking to Paul Thorpe, Electrodoc, or Phil. That's it.
Yeah, that's about as much as I
really know, mates.
I do everything on my desktop Mac.
Yeah. Ben and Jerry's are some of those ice creams are nice. I've not had one since I come out of hospital. I've been thinking about it because I went a bit silly when I come out of hospital. I was scared of anything that was deemed to be like not really healthy. I was scared of it all. But now I'm all right. I eat my Haribo, not a problem. So I'm sure I could get a Ben and Jerry's, as long as it's not like 28 quid for a tiny little tub. Do you know what I mean?
One thing that
was
I will
avoiding them.
I will never grow tired of, even though I've had it millions of times, is my mother's sticky toffee pudding. It's fantastic. It is incredibly rich, and she makes this really rich butterscotch sauce with then puts double cream on top of it as well. It literally is a heart attack in a bowl, but it is gorgeous.
Nice.
Check your email, Wiz.
Right. I bet there's people out there who love a spotted dick.
Yeah, I bet there are. In fact, actually, that reminds me, when I was teaching, the dinner lady there used to call it, what was it now? It wasn't dick. It was spotted
penis.
It was spotted something. And I always used to laugh whenever she said it, and I would say, what's it really called? And she would always go red every time. It used to just make me laugh.
Wasn't Dick short for Richard?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Yeah.
I wish I could remember what it was called. I think it was something like spotted dog or something stupid like that they called it. I think Olga's right. Yeah, stay away from spotted dicks.
Well, I just stay away from dick in general, but there we go.
That's true. Well, I have to say, I saw a lovely pair of tits this morning in my garden.
I thought you were going to say I saw a lovely dick in my garden. I was about to say what?
No, it was a fantastic pair of tits.
I'm going to lower the tone now, but I don't get this, right? Why do lesbians, being that the lesbians, take this in, you're going to love this, people. Why do lesbians use dildos? They don't like penis.
It's not that we don't like the way a penis feels, we just don't like the actual object itself.
I prefer a bit of rubber.
No, it's not what it's made of. It's not what it's made of, you know, or any of that rubbish. It's quite literally that it's not that I don't enjoy this is really
How'd you say it?
be careful with what I say here.
It's because it's belonging to a man.
Not even that. It's just that I don't. That thing where I'm just
Does
thinking
the eye
about
keep
it.
winking at you? That's what it is, isn't it? The eye keeps winking.
Probably, Ace, the way that I would think about it is the same way that you would think about it in that regard. It just makes you feel physically sick.
Yeah, like it's not that I don't enjoy the way that feels. Obviously, I do. My parts are designed to enjoy that. Otherwise, no human would ever have existed because, you know, that kind of is fundamental in our existence. So
what have you got going on here, Wiz? You've got Ace going on about her parts, Helen going on about her melons and fucking her bean everywhere. What's going on?
Oh yeah, Helen, how are your beans from yesterday?
I told you she flicked them away.
She did.
Well, we lowered the tone big time, wasn't it? She flicked her beans and she grew her melons.
Yeah. She's probably out there in the garden today trimming her bush.
Anyway, ladies and gents, on screen, look, chance of me ever believing that Islam is a religion of peace. Red, none. Yellow, also none, but in yellow.
I like that.
That's what made me giggle when you said pie charts. So that one popped to mind.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's like that's pie of the day.
Mm-hmm.
So I just loved what Helen put in there. I bet they do, Helen. I bet they do.
Attractive and not another. Why does a woman find one man attractive and not another?
Who knows?
Why does a woman find one man attractive and not another? Well, I guess that's the same for men. Why do men find one woman attractive but maybe not other females attractive? It's all
Well, an
Personally.
interesting thing, I
One's
think,
pretty, one's ugly. Simple.
yeah, with men, the chances of being attracted to a woman are considerably higher than they are a woman being attracted to a man.
Wow.
I
can't
don't know.
remember
I
what
mean,
the
I
ratio
might
is.
be gay, but Henry Carville, my goodness.
Who?
Henry Carville, the guy that played
Superman.
the last Superman, yeah.
Oh, I see. Yes.
Witcher.
What?
Yes,
Henry Cavill it was The Witcher, Geralt.
not
Not
my
watched
Yeah,
type.
he also played the last Superman. Well,
Yeah.
not the last Superman, the one before the last Superman, because there's been another
Yeah.
one since him.
It's not my
I first time I ever saw him was in The Witcher because I thought that was superb. Might even have to watch
Oh
that
yeah,
again.
brilliant series
But,
until they took him out of it.
Yeah, and put some Pratt in. I was like, what? That's just
No,
stupid.
my favourite is Eva Green. She's the best.
Eva Green, who's that?
She was in Bond film. I'm trying to think which one it was now. The first one that the current one, whatever his name is, Daniel Craig was in. Casino Royale, that one. She was in that.
Oh,
I've
But
not seen
him.
Casino Royale.
She's more of a sort of gothic, weird type look. I prefer that. I'd rather have someone like that or Kate Bush. They're much more interesting.
well, Gal Gadot, Wonder
No,
Woman.
no.
And
I'm not
Sandra
saying that she's
Bullock,
not unattractive.
Demi Moore.
She's very attractive. She was, after all, a finalist for Miss World. But no, she's not the sort of look that I would necessarily go for. No, she's too perfect.
What's wrong with being
Yeah.
perfect?
You
Because
die young
beauty
from
is in the
stress
imperfections.
that she's going to leave you.
No, I think that it's the imperfections where the beauty really actually lies, and in finding those, and in having caring for those sort of things and spotting them and seeing the value in those is far more important.
That reminds me of that old Japanese philosophy where if they break a jar, they find it more beautiful once the jar's been broken and glued back together, and then they paint all of the cracks with like gold leafing.
They do, yeah. I can't
It's
think
like
what
a
it's called,
tradition
but
in Japan.
yeah, they do. Yeah, it's a good
Yeah.
culture.
Oh,
Indeed.
Yeah, nobody is perfect. Olga's absolutely correct. If somebody was perfect, you wouldn't want to know them either, because you'd just be constantly feeling inferior. It's ultimately about what you're willing to put up with, I think. What you're willing to compromise on, and whether or not you think someone is worth bothering with for the rest of your life. And if they're not worth bothering with, then don't bother with them, because it's not going to end well.
that's my wife's name. How weird.
Debbie Harry from Blondie is his wife.
No, it's perfect.
But you didn't know that?
Yeah. Nelly, very good. Not putting that on screen. Penetration. What? But yeah. But anyway, right, we're done, guys. We've done 2.5 hours. What more do you want on a freebie Friday? That's what it's called, a freebie Friday.
Yeah, that's a
But,
good name.
yeah, it's a bit random.
Go with that.
But Saturday we'll be doing the news. I need to update the thumbnail because I think it's a picture of Keir Starmer at the moment. But I put that up as like a holding page, so it's there, so people can get the notification on. Then I update it all nearer the time.
I don't believe this. We've already had the issue with Helen and her melons. Now we've got bloody Nelly's growing cucumbers. I dread to think where that conversation's going to go.
And tomatoes. You can make a
I
picture
just
out of
saw
two
that.
tomatoes. 2 tomatoes and a cucumber. Right. Okay, Nelly. You're going to get banned.
Dear, oh dear. But it's been a pleasure to see everyone, and good to talk to you all. And
yeah, it's been good to say. Ace back and that, yeah. Excellente. It's 3:30, so you can still get out in the garden and melt in the sun.
Yeah.
I'm going to be trying to sleep, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm going to go and light up a fat one and then have a kip.
I'm already having a fat one. So
Yeah, but no, good to see everyone, and thanks once again for all the time that you give. It's very very generous of you and much appreciated.
That's all good,
Yeah.
mate. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. It's
See you
enjoyable.
next
So
time.
take it easy, mate. Yeah, take it easy. Live the dream and all that. Happy days. And
Same as Jake.
thanks.
Same as
We're
Jake.
here
Quickly.
Sunday. We're here Sunday at 1. So I don't know if you'll be around Sunday, Ace. So
Yeah, I'm around Sunday. Yeah. I'm off
some
to my
bougie.
parents Monday due because they're going on holiday, so I'm looking after the house for a few weeks for them. So I won't be
nice.
available past then for a couple of weeks. But like I said, sorry I've been stupid quiet. I've had like a bit of stuff going on, so I've been trying to deal with that. That also,
That's all good.
and thank you for giving me that mouse. I only got to use it for a week and then my PC stopped working. So I'm now
Ah,
wondering whether the
wow.
mouse wasn't the problem, it was actually the computer. Well, it's a bit too late
Yeah,
now because
could
I threw the
be.
mouse out. So, oh well.
Oh, sod's law, isn't it? But you can
Yeah.
keep that mouse anyway. That's no worries. Just keep it. It's not.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
So I
But
got
yeah.
this one. Whoa.
Ooh,
So,
fancy.
ooh,
I like that one.
yeah.
There's called like little lights on it and everything. RGB.
It's not
Can't
a.
go wrong with a bit of RGB.
It's a black mouse. I went for a black one because I don't want people calling me racist.
I knew you were going to go there.
Yeah. Black one was bigger. No.
Ooh.
Oh, happy days. But yeah, no, it's cool. So, yeah, if you're around Sunday, then you can come up and because we're doing Based and Bougie, so that should be a good one.
Yeah, I've got so much respect for her. Really sticking up for the British people. She doesn't have to do that. She's choosing to do that. And if we had immigrants that were all of her caliber, we wouldn't be in this problem, and we wouldn't have anything to say. We'd just be
Yeah.
getting on with life and being quite happy. But unfortunately, we're not in that situation. So, loads of respect for her for that, and same for Barack as well. He's an absolute legend. Yeah, thanks again, guys, for listening. Wiz, thanks again for having me on. You know, your
That's all right.
space. Really appreciate it. I'm gonna hop off now, guys, but thanks again, everyone, and I'll probably
Have a good
catch you
sleep.
Sunday. Yeah, I'm gonna try. I don't know if I'll actually sleep, but can but try.
Time will tell.
Cool. Catch you later, guys. Have a good one.
See you later. There we go. Happy days. Oh, happy days. Look at that. 2 hours, 30 minutes, eh? Not bad for a 15-minute video. I bet you're well impressed with me, Jake and Ace, doing that. But thank you to every single one of you watching. I appreciate it. And thanks to, is it Phil for the 2 gifted memberships and Give the Gospel of Jesus for the 2 gifted memberships. I really appreciate it. And I bet those who got them appreciate it even more, maybe. Who knows? They'll be like, yay. But anyway, I'll be back tomorrow. Yes, because we had Freebie Friday. So I'm back tomorrow, Saturday at 1 o'clock with all the latest news, whatever's going on. And then Sunday, like I said, Based and Bougie, the thumbnails and the title bits are up. They might need updating on the Saturday one, but get the notification on so you don't miss it. Happy days. So thank you very much to every single one of you in chat. I love you all. You know I do. Not that kind of way if you're male. Do you know what I mean? As mates. Come on. Keep it real. So take it easy, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day. Stay warm. Go enjoy your pie. But for now, like I say at the end of every single stream, see, I did that, didn't I? No, you know, that's the wizard's words.